Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I'm good. I'm a little bit behind, like half an hour. Or how what day it was. Oh shoot. I had my drink on. It's very sweaty. My drink is very sweaty. I was very sweaty earlier. I had a um little disaster. Laundry disaster. I got new laundry detergent from Costco. And I hadn't had the my husband prefers powdered laundry detergent. He thinks it's cheaper for some reason. And I hadn't had I think I was supposed to take that out. Oops. I think I did it wrong. Uh, Powdered laundry detergent for a while. Um, since Sam's Club 18 months ago, we switched over because we got a new Costco near us. Or we're getting one at the time. It took another 4 or 5 months to get it started. So it's the box is an inconvenient size for where I need to place it. So I laid it down and I was going to cut the top of it out in order to access, because in all the other boxes, it's just a box. So I split it open and there was a bag inside the box. Why? I don't know. But there's a bag in the box and I split open the bag and I didn't realize it. So I was going to take the bag out of the box and like put it in a container, a different container that would fit that spot better. And I'd split the bag open with the box cutter. So, of course, laundry detergent went everywhere. So anyway, yeah, that's my dilemma today. That sucks. Really, really sucks. So I had to clean all that up. I found, luckily, I kept my containers from the Sam's Club powdered detergent because I went out in the garage and they were sitting right there. I didn't know what to do with them before. Now I know what to do with them. These containers hold more than, or hold less than the Costco container. So that's a good thing, I guess. But yeah, so that was my morning. So of course, as happened immediately after I got out of the shower, I got all sweated up trying to deal with that because it's 75 freaking degrees. Even in the house, it's 75 degrees. I don't have the air on. The air won't be on today. It's already 84. I should put the air on, but I won't because it's too late for that. Maybe I should go do that. Maybe I should go put the air on for a couple hours because the air has to be off at 2. I forgot that um, they charge us time and a half, 1.5 times the usual rate for two from 2 to 7 where we live. Not cool, not cool at all. So, but I'll be going grocery shopping, so it won't be that bad. By the time I get back, maybe though. No, it won't. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm suffering heat today, I guess. So anyway, that's been my morning, and I forgot that today was Wednesday for about 2 seconds, and so yeah, that's been my morning. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you? Oh, this thing is not going down. Why is this not? There it is. Okay, good. I have to see so I can chat too. Does anybody want to chat with me? Oh, have fun. Be fun. You can joke and laugh and have a good time. So anyway, I do have a reality roundup, even though I didn't do what I was supposed to do this morning. This is Welcome to Plathville, Season 8, Episode 10, Where the Rubber Meets the Road. Which they did not say. Barry is picking out a shirt for his blind date at his house. We did not. This is the wrong one. Oh no, I watched the next one. But he instead, the shirt he has on is a nice, like, brown, like, satiny brown taupe color, which I think would be perfect for a first date. It looked very nice on him. It would look nice on almost anyone, I think. It was very classy. But no, instead he picks out a white pattern shirt to show off his man boobs, his workout. There's a lot of switching back and forth here. Kim says Zach and Lydia have been correcting people, like telling Mariah that she should not have alcohol or adult games in her house, and they don't approve of her viewing choices. Like, Mariah is older than you. You don't get to tell her what she can do in her own house. Lydia corrects things, says she's corrected. Oh, they're in the. It's been a week. Sorry, since I wrote this up. So they're on their trip back from Wisconsin. Lydia says she corrected things with Mariah already. She wanted Mariah to be aware that Amber's still a minor, okay, and you're allowed to have alcohol in your house, even with minors there. I say this as someone who very rarely has alcohol in my house. You're still allowed to have it in the house, even if there's kids there. Someone had a show that had more F-bombs in one episode than I hear in a week at work, which I doubt. Clearly it wasn't over-the-air TV. Still not your house, honey. She said they played a card game that made her feel like she was not being considered. You control yourself. If you don't want to play the game, then don't. I'm betting no one will tie you down and make you play. She indicates she was angry about it, like, why are you angry about this? I can see where this would be a problem that other people would have with Zach and Lydia's behavior. I wouldn't like it either if somebody told me what I could do in my own house. And I know people that would do that to me. And I don't like those people. Holier than thou people that like want to correct other people all the time are annoying. You're just annoying. You're not helping. You're not helpful. You're just annoying. So Barry's date, his name is Joanna, could be considered hot. Barry calls her a petite little thing and keeps waggling his eyebrows at her, and it's creeping me out. They both seem very happy with the first date and have several things in common, which is nice. Kim is having Barry over to discuss her trip to Ethan's. You know, you're really messed up when neither of your parents take your. You're really messed up when neither of your parents take your side in a breakup. Just saying, Ethan. She brings up Lydia talking about Joshua's death, and Kim says she felt more blame than Barry for not giving Lydia the tools to cope with the aftermath. Because you didn't. You didn't even get them counseling. What did you expect to happen? One of the kids was going to crack that wide open. You didn't give them the tools they needed, then you needed other people to give them the tools they needed, and you didn't even do that. Kim wants Barry to cough up his child support. He says it's all he can afford until his house sells, which makes no sense. And child support is based off your current income. What are you doing with your money, Barry? You can't afford to go out on blind dates? Pay the money, Barry. Isaac and Ethan are building a bench for Kim. Ethan and Tegan are seeing each other, and he's finally in therapy. So she's going to come for a visit soon. They rehashed the trip to Montana. Isaac was also on the trip and said Zach would only talk to the girls when he wasn't around. There's lots of God talk. Like, God wants this, God wants that, God wants so annoying. She said, and she brings up Lydia talking about Joshua. The boys said she did good. She did not. Kim is going to see a counselor finally, but she doesn't want to really talk about it. Dude, that's why you go see someone, so that you can learn to talk about it. Kim denies that Joshua's death had anything to do with her divorce. I have my doubts, just like Lydia does. So they decide to have another meeting with Zach and Lydia. Kim meets with Micah's counselor. She said she's fine now, but her attitude says different. The counselor indicates that Kim is struggling because of what Lydia is saying is true. Kim says that she thought Amber's birth would make it better, but it made it worse. Like, why would you think that? It's like people who have babies thinking it'll make their marriage better, and it doesn't, because it's a lot more stress. A baby is a lot of stress, and you don't need that when you have other issues going on. She said she couldn't even look at Amber. Poor Amber. Kim says she can't bear thinking about how much she hurt everyone. And that is it for that one. Next, we have a new show. It is called Jay and Pamela. And I think you will enjoy it because they're very enjoyable people. Even if he dressed like that. Not his fault. All right. Oh, shoot. That's not even for this one. Okay. These are coming back down here then. I have pictures of Jay and Pamela, so you can see them in all of their glory. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I won't be on. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow I won't be on. I will be on Friday. Tomorrow I have to go see the vampire dentists. Why do I call them the vampire dentists? Because they're freaking vampires. They never age. It's disgusting. And they keep moving closer and closer. Like, we've been seeing these people for 35 years. They haven't aged. We have. They have not. So we've been going to see them for 35 years. They started out in one place, and then they moved closer to a cemetery. And then they moved again closer to a cemetery. And then they built a building, and it's the back door opens to a cemetery. So don't tell me they're not vampires. They're doing something to keep them from aging. So I call them the vampire dentists. They're very good. We like them, obviously, because we've been going to them for 35 years. My husband's been going to them longer because the practice started as his childhood dentist. The guy that owns it now has owned it for at least 35. Well, probably 30, more like 30 years. He didn't start out as the owner. He bought the other guy out early on, but yeah. So that's fun. So we'll start with Petty Revenge, and it is entitled All the Things I'll Do to Your Ex-Girlfriend. And I cannot see a thing. Maybe I need to go get my glasses. That'll be bad, won't it? Yeah, I can move closer. I can move this closer. This back door. Trying to get this set up so that I can see everything and not strain my eyes. Oh, that's better. Okay. I'm a little closer now. Again, this is for Petty Revenge and is entitled Oh, the Things I'll Do to Your Ex-Girlfriend. The setup. I'm from a secular family where doing normal adult things is no big deal. Drinking, premarital sex, staying out late, etc. I was hanging out with a new group of friends that were mostly Christian, but did normal young adult things, just quietly though. So they were sneaking around. That's what they were doing. They was sneaking because they have to be. Hold on a second. I had to get my stuff. I keep moving, like I said, I keep moving this thing around. I can do it. I just got to move some other stuff over there. Sorry about that. I slept in again today. That messes me up. Even though I get more sleep and I feel better, it messes up my schedule. Okay. So these kids are definitely like they're sneaking around. They're sneaking around. They're doing normal kid stuff, but their parents don't know what they're doing. Among the group, one of the guys has a reputation of being a prig and a prude, and that didn't do it young adult things. The conflict. To each their own, I say, but I heard from multiple people that he was saying things behind my back that weren't true, and actively warning girls to stay away from me. That's rude. Don't do that. During this time at a university party, I bumped into his ex-girlfriend, who was still very much in love with, and the was still in very much in love with, I'm assuming, him. And poor thing looked very uncomfortable and out of place. When I'm drunk, I'm super friendly, so I bought her a Coke, introduced her to some people, and we had a nice chat about her hometown, and I went my merry way. The next week, I met her between classes, and she confessed that she'd been uncomfortable because she'd heard horrible things about me and assumed I was going to grope her or something. I'm normally not one for being subtle, but I had an inspired thought on the spot, a thought of an amazingly petty revenge plan. The plan, from that moment on, I took every opportunity to spend with this lovely lady. I lived on campus, so I invited her around for tea. I put nice comments on her Facebook, and I always was on my best behavior whenever we were in a group setting. Above all, I never said a bad word about her ex. The result, I heard through the grapevine that he'd approached her at a party and was freaking out that this evil, succular monster was attempting to corrupt her. She scolded him, saying what a nice guy I was and how I'd never badmouthed him, and he should be more concerned with how he treats girls. They never got back together and was happy to hear how annoying and petty she found him. I quite enjoyed her company on top of the benefits of petty revenge, and I think fondly over our platonic friendship. That's lovely. That's the best kind of petty revenge. A lovely petty revenge. Grumble 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 says, is the top right comment. He says, people in the comments said this is not revenge. I think it is. It's a revenge the way people say the best revenge is to live your life well. LP is definitely doing a revenge by being the kindest, most respectful he could be to his nemesis ex and of all people. Love this. I'm just living my life by being myself thing. And people who wronged you are completely triggered by it. Yeah, that's sure. Finance Wiz says a good friend of mine was tormented by bullies throughout high school. Eventually, he discovered the trick of simply making friends with said bullies' girlfriends. When the subject of bullying boyfriend would come up, he would simply honestly describe his personal interactions with the boyfriend, and presto, no more girlfriend for bully boyfriend. If you don't think this is revenge, maybe you don't remember your first serious teenage breakup. Trauma has erased the experience. Of course, I was bullied in high school. The bully's girlfriend liked to watch. They were made for each other. RDE says there's an Isaac Asimov story where Henry the waiter gets his revenge on someone who is convinced he's stolen something from him. The guy is driven mad by it. Henry is asked by his friends what he stole. Nothing, he replies, apart from his peace of mind. That's excellent. Francophiles, the third top rated comment, and they say, this was a lovely revenge, and you only had to be nice and enjoy a nice person's friendship. I've found not speaking badly of someone who is being nasty about you works beautifully too. I had a vile sister-in-law. She told me she was going to badmouth me to her family and everyone would believe her. Then the rest of her family came to stay with me. I could see on their faces every time they talked about her, they expected me to be horrible about her, and I wasn't. Ended with her crying that I wasn't awful to her, and I was just catching strays because she was angry at her brother. Oh, for Pete's sake. What a jerk. Next is MIO reacting and is entitled AIO, or is my husband 34 male being a jerk? For context, I, 32 female, have been married to my husband, 34 male, for 6 years. We have a really happy and loving relationship, and in the past year, he has developed this strange habit. I like buying myself expensive snacks every once in a while to spoil myself, and I like eating them either on my periods or after a long day. He knows it since I've been doing it ever since we were dating. I've always told him beforehand that, please don't eat this. I'm saving it for an occasion. If you want, I will give you some then. For the past year, every time I buy myself snacks, when I come home from work, they're gone. Not even a single bite left. That's rude. It irritates me when people do that stuff like this. Like, if you're eating the last of something, ask first. Like the other day, I bought some Sunday, the ice cream cone Sunday things, um, for myself, basically, while my husband was out of town. You know, the ones that are, it's an ice cream cone dipped in chocolate and nuts and freezer. You know, you buy a box of them in the freezer, keep them in the freezer. We had one left. I knew we had one left. Sometimes I want to eat the left. Sometimes I'm saving that for myself. But he asked, and I said, no, you can have it. It's fine. Thank you for asking. Because asking is the key. Like, if I wanted that and I had semi planned on eating it later, that day, actually, but because and if he had gone in and eaten it and I was going in to eat it, I would have been upset. No lie. It pisses me off. Like, but if you ask, I probably just give it to you. I don't care that much. But when I want it and it's not there, that's when I get upset. So just ask first. It's not a problem. So I asked my husband, he says, either I forgot you told me not to eat it or you must have eaten them and forgot. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. First few times I brushed it off because, yeah, mistakes happen, blah, blah, blah. After that, I started getting annoyed, so I hid them. Still, this man would search for them and find them and eat it. He still had the audacity to tell me, oh, I forgot. This continued for a good 6 months, and I was pissed. I told him if he wanted my snack so bad, why doesn't he just buy some for himself? He said, he just went, yeah, 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 I will, but he never did. This kept going on, so I even started putting sticky notes saying, do not eat. Yeah, you guessed it, he still ate them. It's not like I didn't share them or buy them with his money, so I didn't understand why he was doing this. But I let it go because I thought I was being petty. Last week was my breaking point when we went to a nice place on Friday night for a date and ordered our food. I got an important work call, which I couldn't avoid, so I excused myself and went out to take it. I was out for 15 minutes max. By the time I came back, he ate the one thing I ordered for myself, and I didn't even touch his own food. What's his problem? Does he have a brain tumor? Because this is weird. Obviously, I was visibly angry. He said, your food looked good and I didn't want it to get cold. So you ate it? I didn't shout at him. I just told him I wanted to leave, but he hadn't finished his food since he was busy finishing mine. I told him I'll take a cab home and left before hearing his protests. When he reached home, he was mad that I left him alone in the restaurant and said people around him stared. Well, maybe you shouldn't eat your wife's freaking food. Gosh, who does that? Who would think that that's okay? I told him that people around him didn't steal each other's food and then told him we'd talk tomorrow. I'm angry right now, not just about the food, but him lying to my face, trying to gaslight me, and honestly being a bit of a man child. Am I overreacting? No, you're underreacting. May Manic is the top rated comment, and they say, Nor, he is doing this on purpose. I don't know why, but it's so obvious. Yes, it's very obvious. Pilot Environment answers, and it's very really crappy thing to you to do, and you shouldn't tolerate it. Sunshine Shady says, I know it's said a lot on Reddit, but consider divorcing him. This is passive aggressive behavior. He doesn't respect you. He likes to see you get upset. It's a microaggression that's a warning. His behavior could get a lot worse. He's playing head games. Get out, Nor. Second top rated comment is from Emergency Bison, and it says, I'm infuriated for you. This man has zero respect for you, in my opinion. And then they add the fact that he ate the one thing you were looking forward to from a restaurant being told multiple times seems to me something deeper is going on purpose to show you more clearly where he's at in his maturity and emotional intelligence and rational intelligence and his ability to respect other people, let alone his partner, who he's supposed to love more than anyone. I hope there's an update to this one. Needle in a sword stack says he was pushing her to take that call, willing to bet money on it. I bet if OP sits and thinks other times he's eaten food that were due to things that were her fault in the husband's eyes. Edit sad. I do not think OP deserves this treatment. It's actually the cause of the crappy behavior. The guy stinks. Update. We have an update from OP. Update in the comments is the best kind of update. No, it's not. I sat down and tried to talk to him, and I asked him why he kept doing this, and I told him that it was disrespectful and not funny. I asked him whether he was struggling with an eating disorder. What's going on? What is the problem here? He said, "Don't read so much into it. I'm fine. I just wanted your snacks." And then I asked him why he didn't buy the snacks for himself then. And he told me there was no need since they were already at home. And then he turned on the TV. This guy, I can't even. I stepped in front of it and told him I was talking to him and he should have the decency to at least hear me out. He didn't turn off the TV, so I switched it off. I told him that it wasn't about the food, it was about respect. He replied with, "You're overreacting." So I just went in my room, packed a bag, and called my friend to pick me up. I'm in the car with her right now. I will be divorcing him. It's a shame that 6 years of marriage will be ending like this, but I can't handle this sort of disrespect any longer. I will be updating everyone soon. Thanks to everyone who commented or messaged. Various AB says, and his story will be, she divorced me because I ate her snacks. He's a child, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. And OP responds, actually, he is such a man child. I think his mommy deserves to know how he's been treating his wife. I will be calling her tomorrow. We're pretty close, so he's definitely going to get a good scolding, but it's petty but weighing him. So she getting divorced from this idiot. I think there's another update. I don't know why the other one was removed. She getting divorced. She getting divorced. She deserves a divorce because that guy, I hope she takes him for everything. Eat my snacks. That's like, what does he think was going to happen? What did he think was going to happen with such disrespect? Why my husband would be bringing me snacks home after that happened. My husband would never eat my food. Basically, he doesn't. We eat different foods when we go out because there's stuff that I like that I don't make at home. So that's what I get. And he won't eat it anyway. He won't eat the crab or the lobster or the steak or anything with bones in it. I say I'm entitled people, and it is entitled. Some people can be quite selfish, and it's in quotes. I'm currently sitting in my car at Walmart Walmart parking lot typing this out when I witnessed this encounter in the checkout line. I had come to pick up my wife's medication from the pharmacy, as well as pick up a few snacks, some deli meat, and some fruit. It didn't take long. I just took my own reusable bag and was out in 20 minutes or so. I'm standing in the checkout line. There's a woman and a father with their child ahead of me. A woman with her cart full at the front paying with her cart. She's making small talk with the cashier, except the problem, every time she talks, she stops moving. She has to finish her sentence before she takes her bag off her shoulder, has to finish laughing before she can take her card out, has to finish talking when she finally inserts the card into the chip reader. So the people in front of me were getting visibly annoyed. The cashier is clueless as she's laughing and continuing the conversation like they're the only two in line. Okay, I think you're being a little petty. I think you're being a little bit too much in a hurry. Slow down. It's not that big a deal. Go to if you're that annoyed by it, there are places you can check out yourself at Walmart. If you just had one bag, you could check yourself out at Walmart. Anyway, the card goes in and it declines. The woman laughs it off and tries again, declines. Now she's frustrated, but tries again, still declined. So she asks only to use a certain amount of funds and she'll pay the rest with cash. Cashier rings her up. Remaining total is 60. Woman only has 30. Cashier explains that she still has a remaining balance. And the woman arguing, well, yes, I know that clearly, and gets huffy about it. Cashier explains maybe she can put her some stuff back and void the purchase. But the woman declines, saying that there must be something you can do. You're here to help, right? No, I'm not here to help with you with your financial problems, ma'am. This is a whole different thing. This has turned into a whole different thing now. The cashier tries explaining nicely that they're only cashier and that they can't really do much on their end. The woman starts sighing, saying she and her girlfriend, who presumably wasn't in the store, were really looking forward to having a nice night tonight with all that I bought. The cashier apologizing and suggests coming back another time when she has enough money. The woman sighs again dramatically this time and looks into her bag with a shake of her head. It's times like these when the world needs good Samaritans, you know what I mean. The cashier is getting tired of this at this point, just nods and says, I'm sure. The people in front of me get the hint, and the woman in front of me grabs her shopping basket, gets out of line. The man crosses his arms, looks pissed off, and tells his kid to look and see if there were shorter checkout lines or if the checkout is available, self check is available. The kid leaves and then comes back and says there are long lines everywhere else. The dad grunts and shakes his head. Me, I just turned my head and found a bag of barbecue chicks to suddenly be the most fascinating thing in the world. I can see from the corner of my eye the woman is looking back at the line she's holding up. She audibly sighs and pulls out $100 bill. And I'm going to quote this um, as it's written. Bitch, WTF, are you actual? She had all of the money all of the time. Oh my gosh. She pays in the cashier, acts surprised, saying, oh, well, Louie, look at that. It's your lucky day after all. And the woman replies, yes, I guess so. And finally grabs her cart and gives an almost disgusted look at the people in line and scoffs. It doesn't kill to be kind. Some people can be quite selfish. And he ends up with, oh, bite me. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Are you trying to grift people in line at Walmart? Is this a thing now? Like, I don't even carry cash. I can't help you if you wanted me to. I have no cash on me. I use my card. And I know it's probably not a smart idea to have any cash on you, but I don't carry it. I don't, all I carry is my phone and I have a phone wallet, and that's it. If I did, I might have a 20. I would not have 30. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. This is just scam. This is just grifting. I cannot. I can't. I can't. I cannot not. I cannot. Where's that GIF? I'm gonna try and find it because it's really funny. I know which one I'm looking for. It might take me a minute though. It's pretty old. I wonder what happened to that one. I can't find it. Maybe I'll find it tonight. Oh, I wish I would have saved that. It's so funny. Well, it's an I can't even. I can't even. And he just goes on and on. It's really funny. If you know it, please send it to me. Um, Mr. Damon says it sounds like she was trying to get someone to help come up with the money when she actually had the money, which makes her a scammer. Fish answers. She probably has gotten away with it before and thinks it'll work every time now. Ad Potential says, I'm so glad the rest of you got the Ingeline got the right hint. OP says that bag of barbecue chips is looking more enticing by the minute. Bugaboo and 2 says, yep, the scammers have caught on to the saps who play the pay it forward game. She was expecting someone to come to the rescue and pay half her groceries. This is why we can't have good things in society. Greedy and selfish people always ruin everything nice. 100% true. Carlson says, hate that pay it forward business. Just let me get my coffee. I do not need to be in a social experiment. I would be the guy to break the chain and get my coffee for free. Good for you. Next one, Murdered by Words. Erica Kirk says Europe is no longer safe as it's surrendered to the criminals while the U.S. is safe under Trump. The answer wasn't her husband in broad daylight here in the U.S. while Trump was president. Yep. Somebody asked whatever happened with that. He's actually is having hearings right now. I don't think it's a trial. I think it's just preliminary hearings. I've seen on YouTube. Excuse me. I've seen on YouTube where he's in court right now. That has been for the last couple days. Doc Walter answers, trial stuff is proceeding, but since actual law trials are boring, the people hyping it up stop caring. Trials are not boring to me. They're actually quite fascinating. And I've been on jury duty. Of course, it was a murder case, so it was great. Not great that somebody got murdered, but the trial was pretty darn interesting. He confessed, and then he said it wasn't murder. It was. It was. Next, we have a 1-star review for the Rio Grande. And yes, I do pronounce it the Spanish way. Sorry. At Big Bend National Park. This is from Sherry from Westland, Oregon. She gets too much information, Sherry. Grande, I think not. How in the world does this irrigation ditch get a wild and scenic designation? I suggest the powers that be visit Middle Fork in the Salmon River in Idaho. People are not allowed to even brush their teeth near that river. The Rio Grande has been robbed of its water and treated as a watering hole for livestock. What a shame. Well, maybe you should have known what you were getting yourself into, Sherry. Just saying. Traumatized them back, and as I sniffle, is a title not even sick. This has been my go-to response for a bit, and I figured others might like to use it, especially if you're not great with quick comebacks like me. Long story short, I'm chronically ill, and my doctors and I are still trying to figure it all out. But one of my most annoying symptoms is sinus congestion at all times. Dude, I'm right there with you. Whatever you got. It's been literally 12 years of my sinuses being locked and loaded every single day. Because I don't know what's wrong with me, but the doctors suspect an autoimmune disorder. I've never stopped masking. Certain people hate that. So I was in a store that I don't work at while I was on my break. I forgot to take my name tag off before, so I went. So naturally, guy asked me where something was. I don't have a uniform, so I don't know why he would think that I work there other than the name tag, which definitely said a different store. Me, sorry, I work next door. I don't know where they keep that. Him. looking at my covered tits and then back up to my tag. Then why are you wearing that? Me, I'm on break. Him to my tits. Those don't work, you know. Me, what? Him, fucking masks. They don't do anything. Me, okay. Him, you look ridiculous with that thing on. Me, okay. Him, you're not even sick. You people need to grow up. Me, opens the back of my throat, takes one of the most disgusting, loud, wet, chunky sounding sniffs I've ever taken. Him gags and speeds away hurts every time. I love it. That's great. What a jerk. Oh. She never specifies what kind of mask she's talking about. Why was he talking to her breasts instead of talking to her face? I don't know what mask she was talking about. Kiwi soy sauce said, OMG, I thought you were going to spit into a tissue in front of him. Why do they care so much what we do with our bodies? Big Tall Sunflower says they need to be everyone to be as miserable as them. Which is probably true. Zealous Metallium says, I'm immunocompromised from childhood cancer, and I fully applaud your response and responsibility. I still mask up. Oh, she was wearing a mask. Okay, she did not say that. Oh, I've never stopped masking. Okay. That could mean so many different things that didn't even click that she had a mask on. I can be so dumb sometimes. I get it now. Why do people, like, when I'm wearing a mask, I'm not protecting me, I'm protecting you from me, especially when I'm not feeling well. I know people that are anti-mask. It's so dumb. But the same people wear masks. Look at those guys that were marching in Washington last weekend. And wear a mask to hide their identity. I guess that's okay. Because they're too chicken shit to show their face when they're doing stuff like that. So we'll go back to Zelos Metallium. I'm immunocompromised from childhood cancer, and I fully applaud your response and responsibility. I still mask up because, and now I got stuff going. I still mask up because even the common cold can take me out for 2 to 4 weeks. That sucks. I haven't received any crap recently for wearing a mask, but my allergies have been absolutely nonstop this year. Mine too. My allergies have been horrible. What is up with that? Is it because it was so dry this spring? I don't know. Someone decides to get spicy with me while I'm going to pulling this page from your playbook. I have a near constant stuffy nose and postnasal drainage, so I'm sure I can make some pretty grotesque noises as well. I can too, in case you hadn't noticed. I really hope you're able to find answers for your health issues soon. Good luck, OP. Bikes and Arcs is the third top rate comment, and they say, I just wanted to add a similar level of snot going through a box or more tissues a day. And I only found out 8 years later that I lived in a house with black mold. Oh my. Everyone who lived there was fine, but because of my hypermobility disorder, so he has EDS, or HEDS, HEDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm more prone to mold sensitivity. LP says, what? One of the things we're looking at is connective tissue disease because of my hypermobility. I'm waiting on genetics referral because I don't quite meet HEDS diagnostic requirements. Also looking at someone who knows about MCAS now. I got to look up mold testing. I gotta figure out what MCAS is. I gotta do that because my daughter has been diagnosed with HEDS, HEDS. The H is lowercase. Um, okay, I'll look that up later. So this is an update. That was dumb. I clicked the X instead of the box. Okay, here's the original. It says, what should I do? Should I go down there? And this is the picture they. Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to be looking at. Oh, that's not it either. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. There's like too much sleep was not good for me. Okay, so that's what they're asking about. It's the basement no one ever goes to. Edit, Jesus Christ, y'all want me to die because everyone is saying yes, go down. Yeah, it's a video games that taught me anything. You'll find a hidden chest with an enchanted weapon. I throw a whole chicken down there first and see what happens. Uh, I watched Barbarian last night, so I can safely say no. So it's 2-1 go down. Update, I went in and I'm not sure this. My problem is I have too many tabs open. They found some things. There's the cat. Cat tax. Okay. Spiritual being says the cat looks happy he's finally caught something in his trap. Intrepid analysis says it puts the tuna in the bowl. Or else the beer bottles will roll. See, there was treasure, Zima. So there was treasure there, definitely. Unless those are empty bottles. Hopefully not. Next we have malicious compliance and is entitled Mobile Phones Banned Unless manager decided one day because someone was using their mobile phone instead of doing their job that all staff was banned from having their mobile phones in the workplace. One day later, a panicked manager phones landline to ask me to send a WhatsApp photo of the team roster. Can't do that. Why not? Manager asks, because I'm not allowed to use my mobile phone whilst at work. Or you can if I need you to, replies the manager. New policy of no mobile phones at work. Please quietly dropped. Alaskan Druid says quietly drop means they can use it against you if they want to get rid of you for giggles. Everything must be in writing if you want. CIA. OP says that was locally created policy, nothing official in company policy beyond vague inappropriate use rule. Clearly not a blanket ban on using during work hours as they rely on people answering their messages and calls. Now they require authentication via mobile phone anyway, so things would be difficult as they decide they couldn't use their phones at all. Captain Zippy says they should provide you with the tools required to do your job, so pony up the company phone, which is left in the locker on weekends and holiday, on evenings and weekends. Yeah, then you won't have to work on the weekend. Next, we have evil buildings, and this is the Lloyd's Tower in the UK. And that is what it looked like. And there's another angle. Oh, I mean, maybe a little. Why does it have this? It doesn't really go to the other building. I'm confused why that little uh, tunnel is there. What do you think? uh, Nunya Business says, I stumbled on this by accident walking through London once. Felt like I'd discovered a secret Shinra HQ. West Welder says, a Londoner told me they called the Inside Out building. And Kepler Nico says, correct. Through work colleagues, I simply refer to it as Lloyd's building, where I was working for clients there. The neat thing is the boardroom upstairs is very, very traditional looking room with lots of paintings of previous important people on the walls. Step back outside and it's again glass, metal, and such. I just remember there being a very nautical theme to everything, meaning meeting room references and such, which is given fitting Lloyd's maritime origins. Definitely wanted to visit the open house weekend. I visited them when I saw the boardroom. When working for clients, I saw more standard stuff like the dealing floor and artifacts downstairs. Horse Bully says it doesn't just look traditional. The committee room is an 18th century room that was relocated piece by piece from the old Lloyd's building across the street. Interesting. Redone. This is long. Just warning you. This is entitled AITAH. I'm sorry, this is from AITAH, entitled AITAH for asking my boyfriend not to stick chopsticks upright in his rice. Why does it matter? I tried to post this in the relationship advice community, but got an error message that it should be here. I'm Japanese, 40 female. In my culture, sticking chopsticks upright into a bowl is considered disrespectful because it's traditionally done at funerals as an offering to the deceased. Okay, are we in Japan? Today at home, my boyfriend, 36 male, who is non-Japanese, stuck his chopsticks vertically into his rice. I politely told him that's considered disrespectful in my culture and asked if he could lay them across the bowl instead. He immediately said it was silly and refused, saying they'd fall off. I told him they wouldn't, but then he said he wasn't eating Japanese food, so it didn't matter. I explained that it isn't about the food, it's about how the chopsticks are placed. He responded that we are not in Japan and that he wasn't changing what he was doing because he thought it was silly. I mean, he's right. He has a right to do that. He's not in Japan. He's not Japanese. He doesn't really have to respect your silly little traditions. Just like I don't have to pray before a meal because I find it to be a silly little tradition. Hama said I was only asking for a small favor out of respect for my culture. Then I sharply said, fine, I'll just use forks from now on. So I took the chopsticks away and handed him a fork. What upset me was how he immediately dismissed my request as silly instead of making a small accommodation. Oh, maybe it's not. I mean, if you're going to ask for a small accommodation now, are you going to ask for huge accommodations later because of your culture? Like, I can't even think of a cultural thing that I would like call somebody on at all because they're just traditions. They're meaningless. What upset me is how he immediately dismissed my request as silly instead of making such a small accommodation. I got quite angry and said, you're just like all the other white people who love anime and collect figures but don't actually care about Japanese culture. He was shocked by that and later told me I was being petty, cynical, and intentionally trying to hurt his feelings. I gave an example of whenever I have dinner with him and his family, they say grace before eating. I'm not religious. I didn't grow up doing that, but I do it anyway because I know it's meaningful for them. You're responding that religion and culture are not the same thing. And that can be. He also told me that during couples counseling, our counselor said we shouldn't have expectations of each other. I told him that's not why I was upset. I'm not angry because he didn't meet an expectation I had. I'm upset how he immediately dismissed my request as silly and refused to make such a small gesture out of respect for my culture. So Redditors AITAH for asking him to put the chopsticks upright, not to put the chopsticks upright in the rice since we are not living in Japan. Update. I did not expect to get this post to get so much attention. Thank you, everyone who took time to read. A lot of the points you raised were valid, and reading your perspective has helped me in the situation. Here are some of the most common questions I've received. No, I'm not a bot. This really happened. Why would I make stuff up? We've been dating for 3 years and 9 months. He's Canadian. We both live together. This wasn't the first time I bought chopstick etiquette. The first time I was just talking about some general chopstick taboos, and he wasn't actually using chopsticks. The second time was yesterday when I brought it up again after he did. He said he didn't remember mentioning it the first time. I mean, you really expect somebody to remember a list of rules that you have about chopsticks? Seriously? Regarding the counselor's comment, I was trying to keep my original post as short as possible, so I apologize for lacking contents. But my boyfriend clarified what he meant. The counselor said that we shouldn't expect each other to react or respond in a specific way. When we expect a certain response from our partner, they react differently. It can create issues in the relationship, just like you did. A lot of people said my comment to my race boyfriend was racist. That was not my intent, but I understand why it came across that way. I take responsibility for making such a generalized, hurtful comment and I apologize to my boyfriend for it. To clarify what I meant, I was confused that he says he loves Japan, the anime and the food, but doesn't seem interested in learning about its culture and customs. It just felt strange to me that someone who claims to love Japan wouldn't want to understand or respect the cultural practices that are an important part of it. 7, my boyfriend has apologized to me for how he handled the situation. We're both at work right now, so we'll be talking later. I continue reading your comments, and again, thank you for sharing your thoughts. It has been a learning experience for me as well. I realize there are things I need to work on, especially with how I communicate, and I appreciate those who pointed that out. My priority is to have a conversation with my boyfriend and trying to resolve things together. Illustrator said, couples counselor saying you shouldn't have expectations of each other seems to be translated by your boyfriend to mean that he can do whatever he likes. And if you're upset, that's your problem. People should have reasonable expectations of their partners, relatives, and friends. If you're in counseling, take that as a sign it's not working out. And somebody says, or a really bad counselor. And Foresting Porpoises answers that my wife is a therapist and couples therapy is one of her specialties. She tells people that there are perpetual problems and solvable problems. Perpetual problems are one member of the relationship is unwilling to or unable to change. Solvable problems are the problems that can be changed without a Herculean amount of effort. This problem is such a solvable problem that I don't know why boyfriend wouldn't change just to get some easy points with the girlfriend. Actually, I do. It's because he's a jerk. Somebody else says you can't do the smallest things to make you comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's cultural because it gives you anxiety or whatever. Small request, big gesture, bigger fight. That's the gist of it. Why does it give you anxiety? It's weird. That seems like a problem you need to work on. I wish my husband would keep things low. NTA was a small request and he wasn't in the least respectful to you or your culture. It's a bad sign on partner. Final candidate says, and I don't buy his argument that OP saying grace before dinner with his family is comparable since religion and culture are two things. I agree with that. It might be so, but both rely on tradition so heavily it's a moot point. Exactly. I think they're both. I think everyone sucks here. Oh, that's just me. Hair is bothering me. I don't know why. There we go. Next, I have neighbors from hell and is entitled. I'm really scared, and this is happening now, and I honestly don't know what to do. Sorry if this is the wrong place to ask. I'm sorry for all detail. It feels necessary in this case. I'm sitting here very flinging scared. I think something is going on and my carbon monoxide is fine. I moved into a new to me early 1900s home Friday with my two young special needs kids, grandkids adopted. I'm Gen X late Friday evening. I had a very grueling move Friday where I packed up a 6x12 trailer myself in record breaking heat all day, and I'm also a cancer patient. Then I drove 2 hours in violent thunderstorms to get to our new home at somewhat isolated 1900s farmish type house. The landlord texted me where she left the keys where the fuse box was, and she'd leave the house unlocked for us. It was 10:45 when we got here. The kids were freaking a little. It was very dark, but I have a high-powered flashlight, and I used it, found the keys. And then strangely kept finding different sets of keys all throughout the house. That's kind of weird. It became a game with the kids. Oh, look, another set, like 4 sets, and then there are another set off the ring and strangely on the counter, but only 3 keys, and all the other sets had 4 keys. One of the fuse boxes was supposed to be in the back of the house near a storage room. I was not shown the storage room at the showing. I discovered that man going through the back of the house outside, stumble in the dark to the right a while, and there's a door to a room like 4x8 part of the house, part of the original house. It has original door and knob, which doesn't lock, by the way. 4 pane antique glass windows, and inside the walls and floor and ceiling all plywood, and there's a seemingly nailed shut door with no handle facing the house interior. And the plywood flooring has, I don't know, a U-shaped gap opening a hole under the door. That might be like a coal chute, possibly. It's part of the original house, but sealed off completely from the rest of the house. Found the fuse box elsewhere, got power on. Brought in basics, and we were all nodding off, exhausted over our delivered pizza. Everyone went to bed. The next morning, I'm in the kitchen. I see a guy in the trailer next door walking down the driveway with a bag in his hand. I said, "OMG, he's not coming here because I hate drop-ins." He was. He had some waters and Cliff bars, introduced himself, offered to help me empty the trailer, and said he was going to Walmart. Did I need anything? I said yes to the help. He come back at 1:30 once the kids were napping. No for anything else. Offered me money to pay for his help. He declined. He left. Texted my family about this, and as I felt he paid unusual attention to my son, comments on his eyes, his beauty, his unusual name, and so on. Ignored my daughter. My danger Will Robinson was dinging. He talked more to my son than to me. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Really, really weird, actually. 10 minutes later, I jokingly said to my son, "Oh, I should have asked for a bottle of water." 5 minutes later, the neighbor's back. I open the door, and he's doing his rapid-fire speech thing. What do you need? What do you want? What you want? Come on, you need something. What is it? Totally different vibe than his intro. Speed talking, sly grin, bent at the waist, leaning towards me like a completely different guy. I said, "We're fine, thank you so much." He continued to be insistent. I continued to politely decline. I really do hate drop-ins, by the way, so a second and weird one in 20-minute span annoyed me. You don't have to answer the door, man. I decided to do the trailer myself, and I'd been napping at 1:30. After his usual attention to my son, and then that super weird hard sell on getting me shit, I was noping the TF out. Kitchen doesn't have curtains or blinds on 4 of the 5 windows. My rental has acre plus, so we're next door, but not close. Put the kids down for a nap, dozed off. He was back at 1:30, 1:45, and about 2:30 I figured I was safe to get up. Got up, shoes iced, and suddenly he was back knocking. I stepped into the living room quietly. He stood on my porch for a long time, staring at my car, hands on hips, before he left. I did the trailer, was kicking my butt. Son woke up before daughter from nap, and after a couple of hours, I sat down in the kitchen and said, "Woo, I'm almost done." How long was our nap? Holy cow. I had 4 boxes still in the trailer, too heavy to lift, and 6 more on the porch to bring in. Our door was open. I had been bringing in boxes from the front porch. 5 minutes later, neighbor shows up, offers to bring in the boxes. What amazing timing. I said, thanks, please, and he did. He offered to take them upstairs, and I declined. He stayed a while talking. I figured Gen X, shorter than I, bald, gray goatee from the snacks, and his original intro manner, I figured maybe he might be a little crunchy and mild, like a cleaner old hippie, nomadic speech this time. We chatted a bit. I apologized for having fallen asleep earlier. He left. He came back 5 times yesterday. My first day here. Okay, that's too much. You just need to tell this guy, listen, you can come by once every other day. Yesterday, my son and I talked about applesauce cups I buy and how I like them. While I was going through storage stuff and throwing out fruit cups and applesauce had expired, I told him I'd have to order more. He asked me for a PB&J sandwich, but I don't have that stuff yet. I found a roll of toilet paper and some of our stuff and said, yay. We needed this. There was none upstairs in the bathroom. Started putting my cabinet stuff, said to myself out loud, oh, I should line these with paper towels, half a roll. Got to get more. ADD, I do talk to myself. So you have ADD. That's not good. And here's the worst part. I was doing laundry, which is in the kitchen. I have a bunch of bottles of our detergent, was using the smallest one to use it up. I always add water after it empties, shake it, and I can get another load out of it. He never saw our detergent, and it was next to the washer, but behind it, an open door with a big black trash bag in front of it, plus stuff to take upstairs. Here you take the trash to the landfill, so I don't put trash outside, but I was also literally just moving in that day, so hardly any trash. I also said nothing out loud during this time. I was listening for screams of pain or rage from the kids playing in the living room. I can relate. So early this morning, I go outside for something from the car, and there's an 8-pack or whatever jumbo thing of paper towels, toilet paper with a bag of applesauce cups and PB&J bars or something, and an extra large size bottle of our particular detergent, which is for sensitive skin and not all stores carry it. He'd mentioned sometimes delivery drivers make delivery to the wrong houses, this one and his. I'm going on too little sleep, physically exhausted, difficult night and morning with the youngest distracted by 1,000 different worries. This sounds to me like love bombing in a way. Yeah, he's not to be trusted. I think, I hope that's a missed delivery, and I leave it. At this point, I didn't look in the bag on top of the paper towels. It wasn't mine. I hope he'd come get it. We get busy taking the last trailer boxes in, kids bickering and taking the trailer back home. Kids nap, unpacking, and in and out, and the stuff is still there. So I let it sit there all day. I did a Walmart order for us, which arrives around 5:30. Driver did get confused and parked in neighbor's driveway. Had to walk my stuff over to us. As I was bringing our things, it started to rain, and I had a series of ferocious thunderstorms with 70-mile-an-hour winds this week. I think his crap is going to get ruined or blow away. Bring it to put it inside. So I left the bag on the top, and it's a note. There's a note, 3 post-it notes long. And it says, see for yourself. And supposedly I never drew it, and there's nothing here. It's still loading now. All right, we'll get back to that if it ever comes up. I read 5 or 6 times. I do not understand. It doesn't make sense to me. And I also get very off-put by people quoting Bible stuff to me. It's presumptuous and rude and tells me everything I need to know about them. I hear you, girl. Then I look in the bag and saw the applesauce and the PB&J things, and then it slowly hit me. Remember, I'm weighing exhausted. Wait, how did he know a very specific skin-sensitive detergent? And who the F buys a person they met yesterday and talked briefly detergent? How would you just correctly guess what we use or even think is needed? Yeah, it's nothing. Nothing is coming up there. Unless you saw me empty the small one and put the water in to stretch it and assume something. I have a butt ton of laundry detergent. It was not visible to him ever. Nor did I move along the laundry while he was here. He cannot see into our kitchen windows from his place, and very slowly the sinking feeling hit me. Single thing left outside our uh, door early this morning was something the family has talked about we didn't have yesterday. PB&J bars are as close to PB&J as you can get without me actually giving me an actual loaf of bread and jars of peanut butter, which would be wanging obvious, or even more obvious, I guess. My applesauce cups, the applesauce cups my son wanted, my joy of finding half a roll of toilet paper, my intention to line the shelves with paper towels I needed to get, the detergent, the note. I'm wanging scared. He could not have overheard all of that. I could if he had cameras in your house. To casually buy a new neighbor random stuff and hit on every single item we discussed, or maybe demonstrated with the detergent in private. I even asked my phone, is this statistically possible? It is not. And my phone's AI started freaking out and telling me all this crap to do, like call the landlord, the police, barricade yourself in a room, go to a hotel if you can. Like validating, but not remotely reassuring. So look, I plan to put this stuff back on his porch tomorrow, like a missed delivery, like a note. If he intercepts me, what note? Must have blown off maybe, but no, thank you so much. But we're good. This is much too generous. We cannot accept it. But if he heard and saw that all yesterday, he heard me freak out and slowly put the pieces together today. He knows I know. I've covered all the kitchen windows. I checked all the house windows and clicked on the side locks. That's not going to help you. He's got a camera in your house. It got dark tonight and every light in his place is off and his car is there. What TF is this? I turned off all the lights after the kids dozed off, used my phone looking for a blinking light, a sign of how he did this. I'm not even halfway unpacked, so crap's everywhere and I don't see anything. There's simply no way he overheard this, no way he guessed our laundry detergent. And I guess for my filling up with tap water habit, made an assumption about my needing more. That's the part that makes me scared. He would have to see me in who couldn't have from his trailer. Too far wrong angle, even without curtains. I was checking windows and clicking the side locks when I noticed our back fuse box was open. Not gonna lie, I was scared and I thought that would be one way to force me out. It's the master switch. I'd have to go outside if I needed it flipped. I'll put a lock on it tomorrow. Had the kids stand in the doorway and stepped over into the storage room, and the door's 3 inches open, lights on, and I go in and look around more. I don't have my phone because I used a screwdriver on the windows. It was in my hand, but I can post some pics tomorrow. So I'm freaking out, body sore and tired. It's been mentally challenging because the kids and my lack of sleep, pushing through this move alone, like herding cats, those kids sometimes. And one is violently close to bedtime and so dramatic. It's been a lot, and I'm completely exhausted. But I don't know what this is. He's got a camera somewhere. He's got something somewhere and monitoring you. But he's somehow seeing and hearing us in here, and the house is left unlocked for us. Those keys were everywhere. The one set with the missing key arranged on the counter, not where the landlord said she'd leave them. The statistically impossible guess of you need to call your landlord, first of all, of hitting winging everything we discussed privately, the exhausted retrospect, impossible timing of appearances. That weird personality flip coming back inappropriately insist we needed something he could get for us right after I made the comment to my son. That note. Is this schizophrenia? Him, not me. No, it's not schizophrenia. He must be able to see and hear us. I'm wondering what about the missing key? Actually, all the keys, because it was like an Easter egg hunt in here on Friday night. With keys in country darkness, darkness. Why didn't you have somebody with you moving in? That seems like impossible. I wonder about the last tenants, and now I'm wondering about the brand new carpet in here. Tomorrow I will call the landlord and the sheriff and just flat out ask if anyone's had trouble with this dude before. If he's been listening, he knows this, and I'll press whatever charges I can. He's seen me treat my son's groin area for what I, as a former paramedic, thought was a chaffing wrap from shorts, but it turned out to be a weird dye transfer from new underwear. There's not even a TV glow next door. Oh my goodness, it's so long. I am full on crashing out hard. I got my machete out of the car before dark, and I have a stun gun. I'm honestly scared. I have a 2-year lease. WTF do I do? Edit pictures are now loaded below. Edit to. Thank you to another Redditor who posted this in a whole nother subreddit just now on a whole different discussion, asking if I was going to update here, which shamed me into it because I don't have all the answers. At one point, I said there was a crazy number of responses, like hundreds to go through. I'm literally buying living room furniture on auction or working, or kids are 3 hours of sleep, or that acre of yard to mow for which I couldn't even find a decent lawnmower ad infinitum. I'm stretched beyond my breaking point. And I really don't have time for winging crazy right now. I've been a little intimidated to discuss it further. Honestly, I also had surgery. I'm still moving in, and my ADD is intimidated by the sheer number of responses. So I'll just say where I am before reading anything below. I think if you answer a couple of people, that's fine. You don't have to answer every little thing. It's ridiculous. So it was weird because we left a few days, had medical stuff before, and more moving stuff that kept us away for a bit. I'm crazy busy trying to clean up and unpack and deal with the kids and life crap. Toilet paper, towels, and laundry detergent keep showing up at my front door, even though I put it at the edge of the front area over his fence by his mailbox when for a couple of days. This went on for a while, like 2 weeks. More notes for me. The note was kind of part of the worst because broke. Keep your Jesus hands to yourself. I finally stood in front of the sink where the camera must be able to see my use of laundry detergent. It says, "Weighing your feelings." Slam some outside doors randomly, loudly until I saw the direct Wi-Fi thing pop up on my phone. I'll explain this theory below. I said out loud, I don't have time, nor do I tolerate untreated to me crazy. If you don't take this crap back, fine, but I don't have any time for dealing with this, and you've been watching as you know this. Leave us alone, let your camera battery die, or stop snooping, because every time I do anything different from routine or mildly interesting, your Wi-Fi link pops up. I know you're doing it. I have to your lease. Uh, wrong bitch, wrong circus. Wing off and stop. Thanks for the toilet paper, but we're full up and the Jesus crazy crap. Leave me alone and I'll let you be, but you're gonna wang off one way or the other. I'd forgotten to bring my modem on the first wave to move it here, so every once in a while I get an uh, open network Wi-Fi message on my phone. I have to watch for it because it would show a direct link to the device only for a few moments and then disappear. No other networks show up unless you step outside and basically cross the driveway and stand closer to the road. Then I can see 3 other networks for people across the street and an acre plus away from me. He's the only one I see sometimes when inside. I think he has a camera that's not wired into my electricity so that he can only use for so long before either the power source dies or he cannot remotely access it anymore. The night we moved in, my power was on, but I had to flip 2 breakers when we first got here. The landlord turned the breakers off so the power could be put in service where my name was, still hours away before move in. Why would he care to bother? I don't know why you'd have to do that. I've never had to do that when we switched power for moving. Sorry, this is a really long one, isn't it? uh, why would he care to bother? He did see us outside for an extended period of time with the realtor when we came to see the place. The kids played outside. They're cute AF. Of course they are. They're kids. Also, that note with the Jesus instructions made me very uncomfortable. In my opinion, this type that should be scaring me right now. There's literally no man with us, and that shouldn't matter, but I found that actually does with certain types. He mentioned something about in his post past when we talked about that, something that makes my situation is both interest and explicable to him. I have an itch that I can't reach. I need to stand up to reach it. Oh, that's better. It's very uncomfortable. Clearly no man with us. He mentioned something about his past that makes my situation is both of interest and inexplicable to him. No man, how on earth will she survive? Oh my goodness, it's still going. He only had maybe 30-hour window of time to do anything where the house is left unlocked. And that may not be even a thing because I'm pretty sure I could break in here if I ever got locked up. It's a 100-year-old house and some stuff sucks. I've addressed that stuff. There's cameras now, motion sensor, solar lights, and front porch lights, and inside locks from above the door frame and the door frames that are hung correctly instead of gapping open, and locks on creepy rooms, and baseball bats and machetes at every entrance, and my stun gun by my side always. I'm rusty on baseball bats, but I know how to use the rest. And he hasn't come back over not months after that. Well, that's a good thing. I saw the Wi-Fi pop up a couple days ago. I bought the kids a big ass TV and made sure the older one didn't read my passwords and screen names as I entered them into Roku again. They only change clothes in certain areas. I got shower curtains up. I tried to think of every single thing that type may think of and figure it out as they wing you. Landlord said no one has had an issue with the guy before, as far as they know. They've never seen the guy. Now I'm paying attention. He never, and I mean never, opens his blinds. Last week he did this weird thing, brought a plant out and made a big deal of digging a big hole, but didn't plant the winging bush or whatever it was. The next day, the hole was filled in, no plant. What was that all about? Now you're spying on him. Like, leave him alone. If you want him to leave you alone, you need to leave him alone. Little digging for hours under my bedroom, only to plant nothing and fill the hole with nothing after dark, but the dirt you just dug. He's digging a hole in your. I'm confused. Bro, what? So I run with my thoughts on the theory. I mean, it was almost like an ambush, like a bush alibi, but who was planting a big rose bushes 20 minutes after sunset? It was a big hole, and I ran with my why do you need to be digging a hole alibi theory. With someone on speakerphone for probably 30 minutes a few days later. I was seriously making a joke like, okay, stay with me. I was trying to push this way beyond a sane person, like it was extreme. My neighbor's a sociopath joke. I've never noticed or cared or even thought that if this was the other crap hadn't happened. Oh, and guess what? Several days and the next morning later, he came back and redug that hole and planted the rose bush. For someone who was over here so much and leaving probably $50 worth of oddly needed bulk items with notes in my door, refusing to take them back, he hasn't been back once because you told him not to, and he's on to you, and he knows you're on to him. Over an acre to Mona, and okay. Some of this is like completely. I put the note on the wall by the fridge to show the cops top parts are gone. I've checked under the fridge, the side of it, the window, hurting everywhere. The crazy Jesus stuff and everything else gone. That's weird. I just can't have crazy right now. I don't have winging time for it. I know I'm not wrong, but I've done what I can with limited resources. Old phones are set as cameras in the windows using security app. I said what I said when I saw the link boost up, and it all just stopped. I've done nothing else to make him feel unwelcome here other than stay inside where I know he can see me. He's avoiding me, and that's fine. If anyone knows how to use a camera like I've described, stuff I've used more than a decade. I found something weird inside and outside the house, and I think that explains what he did. I think the camera's gone now. He's not winging with me anymore. Honestly, that's all I hoped or asked for. Keep the crazy Jesus hands to yourself. I have not had the time to Google this last camera thing fully. I'm skipping a lot. She told him that she played bass, and if it's ever loud enough, next door to let him know. She said she can't hear music upstairs and the kids can't hear her downstairs. Not talked to the police yet because I can't convince myself. You all hear with someone organized ADD thoughts. I'll never be able to explain the cops while I'm spooked. Only with my words. I'd keep an eye on your son. Okay, no one else can see the notes. So I'm not crazy. There's a Look Up Lady speech on YouTube. She tells a story about how one time her and her friend were followed in their car. At one point, it became clear it was absolutely going to be a confrontation, so she went wild. She explains better than I can. Basically, if it flip the script and become a problem. Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to deal with creepy guys. Somebody says to pay for a background check. It says, go to sleep, consider getting a dog and or a pair of geese. Invest in some cameras and solar motion lighting in different places around the property. Beautiful Self says a pair of geese is obviously the most intimidating security system on that list. Cameras record the crime. Geese make sure no one wants to commit it twice. Now I want a security donkey. I can't have livestock on my property. Darn it. We need a brain, some brain candy. So we're going to do Benign Existence. Entitled, I had plums out of the fridge for the first time and now I get it. For whatever reason, I've always had plums at room temperature in the fruit bowl. I put them in the fridge at work just because it was convenient not to have my food all in one place. It's a heat wave here, and I took one out and bit into it, and it stopped me short. It was really ripe, juicy plum, very purple on the inside, and so cold. Now I understand what William Carlos Williams' poem about stealing plums. I'm sorry if I ever disrespected you about that poem. Now I have I found Satan, and it's entitled Evil Interviewer. And it looks like a TikTok. So I'll share. Sure.
You could change one thing about yourself. What would you change? Besides the obvious.
I'm not answering that. That's kind of rude. What's obvious? I hate this.
Besides the obvious, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change?
Oh.
What's the obvious?
We're not even talking about that. Besides the obvious.
No, but what's the obvious? No, but what's the obvious?
Look, don't make me say it, bro. Like, we're not even talking about
that. No, we gotta talk about that.
We don't have to. You're bringing
no, because what's up with that?
Listen.
The way you phrase this question is not all right.
That's funny.
I don't think I can get besides that.
What are you doing?
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change? Besides the obvious.
What's the obvious?
Besides the obvious.
There is no obvious. What does obvious mean?
Yeah. Aside from, look, you worried about the wrong thing. Aside from the obvious,
what is the obvious thing to change about me? What's the obvious thing to change about me, Cuzzo? Please tell me.
Sam.
Please tell me. I don't have an obvious thing to change about me, do I?
I'm asking girls. You. They're awesome.
I'm putting it on you.
No. We're moving past that.
No, I'm not moving past that.
Aside from the obvious.
You've had him.
The thing I would change about
myself. He's just messing with them anyway.
What is the obvious? What are you trying to say? But
you passed that. What would you change?
I don't know. Why? What do you mean? Besides the obvious? Like, what is that supposed to mean? I don't know. I like how I am. I wouldn't change anything.
Good for you, girl. Love that. Armor's Hands says a top rate comment. He says, he obviously is about to die from some unexplained circumstances. Well, I guess it's unexplained. pretty obvious. Ryman Smith answers, well, besides the obvious, we're past that. Uh, Romance Bladesmith says, pro tip, don't say this to your significant other. Nuclear Clip says, why not? Besides the obvious. Crafty Help quotes, there is no obvious. Edit, thank you for the award, kind one. There is no obvious. Lackluster Film says the only obvious thing I seen was my man squatting to get up on that food up on that food bar. I also noticed the food bar and I kind of wanted to know what was in it. Next we have Just Know Mill. It is entitled I'm Done. Stay classy, Mill. My dear husband asked me to get a birthday cake and ice cream to take to the family gathering at an Airbnb. It was to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday 2 weeks prior and my sister-in-law's birthday the next day. My sister's birthday the next day. Everyone knew what the cake in the refrigerator was for because husband told them. I know he told his mother. Some of you may remember my post, now deleted, about my husband telling my mother-in-law not to bring pork into the Airbnb last weekend out of respect for my Muslim relatives who were also staying there. Mill assumed this request came from me. I'm not Muslim, but half my family is, and she was big mad about it. I have problems with this on both sides. First of all, the pork being in the house won't hurt you. And second of all, why are you causing a problem when you don't have to? I didn't know my husband asked her to refrain from bringing, cooking, and eating bacon and sausage for the weekend. No one knew he said this, and no one expected him to. So it shouldn't have even been an issue. Now the husband's making it an issue. This was the issue in my mind last week, but something else happened Friday night. Mel knew the birthday cake was to celebrate her and my sister's birthday. When I came back to the kitchen after dinner to serve the cake and ice cream, I saw that Mel had taken it upon herself to take the cake out, cut herself a big piece, sat back down at the table, and was eating it before anyone knew what was happening. She just sat there eating cake by herself with her bottle of whiskey she brought in front of her. Well, that's her problem right there. Well, you get drunk. I was determined not to let her ruin the occasion. I apologized to my sister. She was too gracious to complain. I announced that there was cake and ice cream if anyone would want some, and then people came to get it. The more I think about this crappy behavior from my mother-in-law, the more I realize how crappy she's been for the last 25 years, and I'm done. I told husband yesterday that I won't host her in my home anymore, and I'll never go to her house again. And he nodded. It took you long enough. Diana Chris says, you put up with her for 25 years. Kudos to you, OMG. LP says, I was invited along with husband, then boyfriend, 3 times to her home for a meal, and each time she served pork. She's not brain damaged as far as I know, so I told husband I'm not going there for any meal anymore. He understood I've been to her house for about 8 times in 25 years, usually for birthday family potluck, so I bring a dish and everyone enjoys and I'm polite to her. That's it. I understood by the time we were married that she either did the pork thing on purpose or simply I didn't give a crap. As a result, I've been low contact. I've managed her energy for years, and ever since husband and I were standing together at our door after an event, she hugged him goodbye and walked straight past me out the door. Wow. Wow. I always hug my kids and my other kids. My kids and my other kids. I extended basic manners and that's it. Husband has never pushed me to gates. Sometimes I hug my other kids and I don't hug my kids. So it depends on who's standing there. I would not pass them and not hug them. That's terrible. So it's not like I've been beating my head against the wall for years. I had Urmesha early on. This was just a big occasion for us, and our daughter and mother-in-law was invited to the graduation by husband. I'm glad there's not even a hint of pretense anymore, and husband was in the middle of it to see why. Philosamon says, kudos to you for making the decision to ban your mother-in-law from your home and refuse to go to hers. Extra points for telling your husband about your decision now and that rather than wait for the next family gathering to come up and spring it on him. Lastly, you deserve a Medal of Valor for putting up with your toxic Mill for 25 years. Mill sitting at the table eating a piece of cake she just sliced into before time to serve it, with her bottle of whiskey in front of her, is a perfect mental image of a toxic family member, if there ever was one. 100%. Next, we have Am I the Jerk? And is entitled AITJ for telling my coworker I can't guarantee an autograph when I go to Comic-Con in August. Somebody's asked for, if you want an autograph, you better go ask for it yourself, because I ain't doing it. I don't ask for autographs. If I want somebody's autograph, it will be on a check with a lot of zeros on it. And then I might ask for an autograph. But until then, no, I don't ask for autographs. I'm an experienced Comic-Con attendee, and I know everything that is needed to know about going, and the chances of getting autographs, which I rarely get, is that I do photo ops. If you've ever been to Comic-Con, you know, depending on the celebrity, you know that celeb is going to have a huge line, both autograph and photo ops. Yesterday at my work, my worker called Dottie for this story. Well, she's Dottie, probably. I've told my Comic-Con stories. Asked me who is going this year to be at the Comic-Con. And as of me posting this, Orlando Bloom is going to make up missing last year. Ooh. I'd love to feast my eyes on Orlando Bloom. Dottie's a diehard Orlando fan, and she's got her share of Legolas and Will Turner memorabilia. Asked if she buys a autographed ticket, I can get her one for I can get one of her collectibles signed for her. I reminded her of what I've taught her about Comic-Cons, especially the bigger name, the bigger the line, will always be how celebs have select times that they're in their booths, photo ops and panels as well, and how this year is the 25th anniversary of the first Lord of the Rings movie. Orlando has a full day ahead of himself with his booth, his solo photo ops, his team photo ops, and a panel he's doing. An autograph is not always guaranteed. Dottie's face fell instantly, turned to anger, and said, "Some coworker you are." Well, I'm sorry, Dottie. I am not going to guarantee something I can't guarantee. Honestly, I'm telling the truth with how Comic-Cons are, and she's pissed because I can't guarantee it. She'd go and see for herself, but she's unable to travel during that time. Am I the jerk for telling you the truth of how it's not always guaranteed that the photo autograph would be obtained? No. Independently anxiety is a top-rated comment, and he says, "Some coworker is exactly right. You're not a spouse or a close friend." NTJ. Second top-rated comment is from Glenn Maddie. Man, I feel like I've been here forever. Thought we were halfway through. Yeah, I'm not even halfway through. Hope the second half goes faster than the first. That one was really long, though. Tell her to buy a ticket and get her own autograph, not the jerk. You told the truth. Skilled Accident says, pretty bold of you to her to expect you to give up part of your Comic-Con experience to stand in line for her. She should just find an autograph online. It won't really make a difference where it came from. She isn't physically there to get it herself. Exactly. I once had a really long conversation with Greg Evigan at a Comic-Con once. It was really fun. There was nobody in line. I don't know what was going on at that time. And LeVar Burton, my daughter was 3 at the time, just a little tiny thing. And he did the Reading Rainbow spiel for her. So LeVar Burton, good guy, nice guy. Love him. I mean, this was way back in the day. Soupy Sales was still alive. He was not doing well at that Comic-Con, but he was there. Next, we have Signs of the Story, and it is entitled Sign at a 24-Hour Laundromat. These people had a problem. Effective immediately, no horse blankets. We strive to remain the cleanest laundromat around and cannot let dirty horse blankets ruin our reputation. If you believe you can properly clean up, you can call or text to request an exception. Customers that do not follow the rules will not be allowed to utilize this laundromat anymore. I mean, I can appreciate that. I recently obtained a piece of bedding. I should have taken it out and shaken it before I put it in the laundry because it had so much cat hair on it. So much cat hair. You would not believe. I had to wash it twice and I'm still getting clumps of cat hair. It's crazy. But it's fixed now. I mean, it's just hair. Static Guava says this is so valid. Becca B says I kind of get it, but there is no better. But there is a better way to deal with this. If you truly have so many people cleaning horse blankets, you need a sign. I live in a coal mining town. The local laundromat has specific washing machines for work clothes. Easy solution. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. AKA pseudonym says, what kind of person owns a horse but uses a laundromat? I really like that username, AKA pseudonym. That's great. I see entrepreneurs as people who don't want to wing up their own washing machines. Yeah, they're big. You need an industrial sized washing machine to wash them. I understand that. Oh, finally, halfway there. Expectation versus reality. The inspo I was sent versus what I actually made. I'm relatively new homemaker. These are super cute. I don't get the homemaker reference though. That's kind of strange. All right, here we go. Cake pops. Oops. Cute little cake pops that say I love you on them. With some flowers and some leaves, I guess you would call it. Maybe they're not cake pops. Maybe they're cookie pops. I don't really know. I mean, those are not bad. They're not bad at all. They're cute. They don't say I love you. Were they supposed to say I love you on them? Was that a stipulation or no? Because if it wasn't, you did a really good job. Although you kind of copped out on these. Kind of copped out on a couple of them. Just a little bit. It's not bad. They're very cute. Capybara says, do homemakers make cake pops traditionally? Opie says, my bad, home baker. It was home baker. She said homemaker. Okay, that makes more sense. This is from is our real estate section. And this is titled, A Fancy Old Mill Retreat Set Right in the Rushing Waters. No need for a white noise machine. That looks very cute. I hope that it's well maintained because it looks like it could go all kinds of wrong, to be fair. This is in Starksboro. What did it say? Starksboro, Vermont. Okay, let me get over here. Oh wow, that is like really close to the water. Was that a mill at one time or what? That looks like it needs a water wheel hanging off the back of it for sure. That needs a water wheel on it. 100% for sure needs a water wheel. That is awesome. I love it. I'd be worried about erosion. That is really cool. It is $775,000, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and 1,656 square feet. So the room's probably pretty big. My first house was 1,600 square feet, and it was 3 bedrooms, bath and a half. That deck is awesome. I would love that. Like, gimme. That looks like a lot of work. I'd have to hire a gardener. That's beautiful. Very rustic. The whole interior is like that. Holy cow. This is a cabin in the woods. This is not a place you live. This is cabin in the woods type stuff. That's cool. It very well goes with the decor. There is no storage in that kitchen at all. Where do you store stuff? I'm confused. My sister-in-law was over on Friday and she's jealous of my pantry. My husband would hate that because he cannot stand sloped. He has claustrophobia and he can't stand a sloped roof at all. And there's a stove right in the middle of the room. It's odd. An odd choice. There's another room. There's the bathroom. Like, I would in that bathroom. Not a fan. The shower's really weird. How would you even get in there? I don't like it. No, thank you. Said it was 2 bedrooms, right? There's the other bathroom. I'm assuming this is a basement. Are they including the 1,600 square feet in the basement? Maybe they are. I don't know. Some states do that and some states do not. Why do you need a porta potty? I'm confused. Does your bathroom not work? It's a little outdoor, what do you call it? Bar type thing. I would like the water. I love all across the creek they have another little area with a couple of benches to sit on, a couple chairs, a bench, and a hammock. Lovely. I bet bugs eat you alive though. Oh, I love their very inclusive sign. It's nice. Is that another bathroom outside there? Another shower outside. Okay. You really go swimming in that rushing water because I think you need a little dam. You need to dam up yourself a swimming hole. That's it. It's very cute. I love the location. I'm not in love with the house that much. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,650 square feet. Built in 1799. It's on 2 acres, which is nice. This is a piece of Vermont history on the rushing waters of Lewis Creek. Told you it was a creek and not a river. I don't know how the Dwajek River gets its name because it's definitely a creek. Briefly use this as seasonal rental in an intimate wedding venue. The property offers flexibility for personal enjoyment, creative use, or continued rental potential. It's 30 minutes from Burlington, Middlebury, and Waterbury. And it has kerosene wood, oil wood, forced air, hot air, and zoned wood stove heating. It has no cooling. You probably might not need it all that often anyway, since it's near that creek. That creek probably brings the temperature down quite a bit. If you walk in certain places, you can feel the air cooler in certain places. It's really weird. Usually it means there's water under that area, like there's underground stream or something. It's got a dishwasher, range, hood, freezer, microwave, gas range, and refrigerator. Dining area has a hearth, kitchen and dining, family kitchen, unfinished basement. I use basement stairs a thing. Interior entry. It does have a fireplace and it has a wood burning stove. It does have a barn, a detached barn that you can use for parking. Only one garage space. Just for a small couple or something like that. I don't know how you do wedding venue on something that small. It is not showing the property taxes. Property taxes are about $1,000. A little more than $1,000. Massive Ear says, I don't know if this is a fair price for this house and its location, but it's a really cool house. Tax assessment being $350K seems to indicate they have high hopes. So tax assessment is usually half of what your house is actually worth. So it would be $700,000. They're looking for $770. It can come down. 2015, it was only $250K. Somebody said people have been trying to flip Vermont property since COVID, and it's disgusting. Odin says, is there a hanging wasp nest inside? Picture number 5. OP says, yes, but it's an antique wasp nest. You see, it's extra special. Some people do use wasp nests as decoration, which I find weird. Next week's confession is entitled, I couldn't find the website I used to find the deleted posts are still down. I don't know what's going on with it. It's 2 days now. It's been under maintenance. I don't know what that means. I can't find anything out about it. So we'll use this one. This is a confession. I use sign language in public so that no one speaks to me. People think I'm deaf. I can hear and talk just fine. I'm not deaf. I just hate talking to people. So local stores have learned. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Rue Rodan says introvert and Pro Max. Doozy Kitten says more like social anxiety. Autism or dislike of socialization. Introverts don't strongly dislike speaking or fear it. No, sometimes we just don't want to talk to people. I want to talk to you. I'm never going to want to talk to you. I'm going to use sign language. Particular Neither says, not going to lie, the part that about stores letting think he was oddly wholesome, even if it happened for a pretty unusual reason. OP says they agree and it's very sweet. Cute Giggly says, yeah, thanks for the life hack. Working Park says, oh boy, I learned to sign in early elementary school. Fast forward a decade or two and I'm living the high life out in the bars on weekends. Apparently when I'm drinking, I sign as I speak. Not good, not bad. It just is. That's funny. Next, I have Mother-in-Laws from Hell. It is entitled, My Mother-in-Law Tried to Ruin My Gender Reveal. Long story short, my partner knew the gender as the hospital wouldn't write down over legal reasons, so he knew and I didn't. My mom and best friend planned a lovely gender reveal for me as a partner wrote down the gender from them. My mother-in-law was desperate to know, even though she had nothing to do with the planning. He didn't tell her background. I've only met her 3 times. She lives quite far, but every time she's treated me with zero respect and caused some sort of drama when I've met her. Anyway, cut to the night before the gender reveal. We were having dinner with her and her husband, and my partner accidentally said he. I didn't hear this, so he got away with it. My Mill did, and the next day, just before the reveal was literally about to happen, she said to me, partner's name slipped last night. He said he. My partner and mom were the only one were there and tried to play it off, but we're all fuming. I literally cannot understand why she would do this. The next day, my boyfriend and I confronted her calmly about it and asked why she would do this, and she kicked off and blamed my partner, saying he was the one that made the mistake and how We were using her as a scapegoat. He may have made a mistake, but you did not have to exacerbate it, ma'am. We didn't want any drama at all and said how we just wanted to move on and it was a lovely day. I said how I was just sad that I heard it right before the big reveal, which my mom and best friend put a lot of time and thought into. And then she said to us never to speak to her again. Not the first time she said this to our own son. Okay, so I won't speak to you ever again. That's how you handle that. Now I want to cut her off and told my boyfriend I want nothing to do with her. I think she's extremely toxic and feels like she just doesn't want to be happy at all. For context, she bitches about everyone, is extremely judgmental, and is very bitter. However, this is the only remaining parent I feel bad for saying I want nothing to do with her and I don't want her in my son's life. I just want to know if I'm being fair here. Just to add her family, I'll think she put her. Hold on a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I my phone just started playing. After what, 2 hours? Started playing on its own with it off. It was off, and it was still like running. I don't know what's up with that. It's weird. I did take the opportunity to refill my drink because I don't have this much left. um, so we were at so the family agrees that she thinks she did it accidentally, but she's known for being malicious, spiteful, and I don't think they want to accept that. That's how that ends. Scrooge quoted, she then said to never speak to her again, and they say, honor her wish and have a fabulous life. Exactly. That's exactly what you should do. This is interesting AF, entitled, What Does It Mean to Punch a Lobster Tail? Well, I guess we're going to find out what it means as soon as I share it with you. Here's a very lovely lobster. as you can see.
Here we have a fairly large female that's currently full of eggs, probably around 30,000 eggs. So it's very important to the lobster fishery that lobsters like this are protected. If you're new, a punch tail is a mark on the lobster that signifies she has produced eggs in the past. The notch goes on the second flipper in on the right. Not all the females can produce eggs, so it's important to keep track of the ones that can. Like on a farm, you don't want to harvest your breeders, so the notch is a way to ensure that future fishermen know that she's a breeder and she can't be harvested. This way, she's able to remain in the ocean and keep the population sustainable. This lobster has been breeding for roughly 20 years and has contributed to hundreds of thousands of baby lobsters to the ocean. She has at least 60 to 80 years of breeding left, so we're going to send her home. She's now free to breed for the rest of her time and keep the population sustainable for the future.
Bye, lobster. That was interesting. I had no idea that some lobsters could not reproduce. Ren Reeve says, I completely misunderstood the question. I was genuinely concerned that people were out there fist fighting crustaceans. Girl, same. Marvelous Pineapple said, I watched on mute and was waiting for him to actually punch the tail fist. Same. Puzzle Head Cell says, V notches means you have to release it. It's a free pass for her until the next shedding. Pine Tree said a good notch should last at least 2 molts and hopefully be noticed and refreshed indefinitely. And somebody asked how molting works, and we're not going to get into molting. You can look that up for yourself. Their top right comment is puzzle structure, and they say, today I learned lobsters live up to 100 years. Semester says they're almost immortal, but they keep getting bigger with age, and it gets harder and harder to molt their shell, so eventually they get stuck and die. Oh, that's sad. Next is Am I the A-hole? And he is entitled AITA for being blunt with my boyfriend about why he isn't getting hired anywhere. I mean, did you say it in a nice way or did you say it in a mean way? Because if you said it in a mean way, yeah, you were probably the a-hole. Caffeine for the day. I, 26, have been with my boyfriend, 29 male, since 26 female. I've been with my boyfriend, 29 male, since 2024. Met online after a few years of friendship. He had gotten a couple years of friendship, because it's only 2026 people. He got an insurance payout and decided to move to my state for a few months. Well, a few months turned into a couple of years, and the insurance money had run out. Previous to the insurance payout, he had helped his dad with his landscaping business and had a few short-time jobs, pizza shops, serving, etc., but no job lasting more than a year. Once he ran out of insurance money, he began to search for jobs. Why didn't he invest that? Should have invested that money and kept a job. He could have a really nice long retirement. He quickly became frustrated because nobody was getting back to him. He would often threaten to give up and move back in with his parents. Okay, bye. Bye. Go back. Go. I'm an HR manager and hire people for my company on a regular basis. I took a look at his resume and explained that no one was going to hire a 29-year-old who had less than 5 full years work experience with years of gaps between jobs. He argued he was applying for entry-level positions, and I explained that his age would be the downfall. It doesn't matter if it's entry-level, a 29-year-old not holding a job is bad luck. He's now saying that I'm sensitive to and make him feel like crap for not being able to contribute enough to our household, although I've only asked him to help with groceries. I take care of the rest of the house bills. Girl, why are you living with this, now I can't think of the word, homosexual. Why are you living with this homosexual man? Admittedly, I think I could have addressed it in a softer manner, but I definitely let my personal feelings get in the way. I love him to death, but it feels ridiculous that he lived off his parents for as long as he did with no independence. So, am I the a-hole? Edit for some added context, I did help him work through his resume. The initial conversation stopped at, this is the issue, because we had become too upset to let me help in the moment. Took a couple of hours, but eventually we were able to sit down and fluff it up, so to say. I find that if you have a gap in employment, you should do volunteer work because that can count on your resume as a fill-in gap. Worked great. Active Animator says info. For me, the question is, why did you expect him? What did you expect him to do with the information? If you had said, I think the problem is maybe you don't have enough work experience for my work in HR. I think that the only way to tackle this is this, but you didn't say that. You said you won't get hired because you don't have enough work experience. Fair, but what the heck is he supposed to do with that? Turn back time. Exactly. Candy Apple Chris says, hold down a job, anything at all, while trying to find something in the career he wants. Toilet Spark says, how can you hold down a job when no one will hire you for an even entry-level position? How can you get a job when you have to get a job to get a job? Somebody said hotels. Interactive says, info, did you offer any constructive feedback? He obviously can't change his age and his employment history. I mean, he could lie about his age. They'd find out, but he could lie about his age. If you tell him essentially, that's it, you're screwed, rather than offering practical tips, and I see his point. You've made him feel irredeemable, therefore like crap. OP says, I helped him rework his resume and added his side work endeavor that he worked on. So that wasn't necessarily making him money. He made creative things like music and worked on movies. So I helped him detail it in an attempt to build his acquisition section. Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff can work too. Hobbies. I listed things on his resume and interest and skills in computer and his experience with Fruity Loops and so forth. It was all post conversation though. Grum Curmudgeon answered, post conversation, meaning after you critiqued him, you helped him as a definite NTA, even if you were overly blunt with the original assessment. Next is Overheard and is entitled, She Noticed. I overheard a mom and her teenage daughter at the park. Mom, look me in the eye and tell me you've never noticed. Amy, Mom, I never noticed. Can we move on? Mom, Amy, I saw the two of you walking home from school. The wind was not kind to your hair at all. However, walking in the wind definitely accentuated Hunter's athletic physique. I never realized that boy had a body like that, which makes sense because I don't see him that often. You, on the other hand, are his friend, and you're telling me you never noticed that hot young man is underneath his baggy school uniform. Amy, Mom, what? Amy, Hunter and I are just friends. I don't look at him that way. You're sexualizing our friendship. Stop. Mom, honey, I used to be your age. I'm not sexualizing your friendship. I'm looking at your relationship through the lens of the girl I used to be at 16. Tell me you're not attracted to Hunter and I'll let it go. Amy. Mom, okay, moving on. Amy. Mom, I'm sorry. Amy, he has a girlfriend. Mom, oh, honey. Amy, it's okay. That's lovely. Good mom and daughter talk. Clearly, Hunter be hot. Go Hunter. Odd Abbreviations says, I used to have a very close guy friend, and he was my ride or die, and honestly, the brother I never had. I respected him a lot and never looked at him romantically. My mom and other people would comment on how cute we would be as a couple, and it always weirded me out, but I would laugh it off. Then I found out my mom directly spoke to my friend about her thoughts and how we should be a couple because we got on so well. A week later, he told me he had feelings for me. We didn't speak for a long, long time after that, only in passing, if at all. I miss my friend. I hope he's having a good life. Oh, that's heartbreaking. My grandmother tried to tell me that my friend was in love with me. He wasn't. He's gay. Lady Caitlin says, it sounds like he may have had feelings already, and your mother's words were emboldened to help him to speak them. The end of a close relationship is sad, but if he had unrequited feelings for you, then he needed to move on. I've been on both sides of this equation. GD Swamp says, answers, one of my best friends in high school and through the college years had feelings on and off, which I suspected but ignored. I had my own moments, and once, a few years after college, we got drinks and hooked up. Some tough conversations were had, feelings were bruised, and for a couple of years after that, we were distant. And then we started talking, been best friends like brother and sister for about 15 years since we picked back up again. Maybe call your friend. Unrequited feelings don't last forever. If you were really good friends, you can be again. Dry Pin says, I'm sure her current partner just loves that. If your partner really loves you, they want you to be happy. And if you're happy with your friend that you might have been in lust with at one time, they should be okay with it. GG Swamp answers, so happy not to have friends like you in my life. Our current partner is great and capable of understanding that we're the most just friends in the world, probably partly because we worked out any non-platonic ideas we had 20 years ago. Exactly. Effective Change says, the second top right comment, says, I used to have a best friend that was a guy when I was a teen, my absolute ride or die. We were best friends for 2 years from 16 to 18. Then I realized I had feelings for him. We've been married 21 years this year, and that boy is still my best friend, my ride or die. And he's proven it more times than he should have had to. He says he fell for me when we met. I just needed more time. While it may never happen, there's always a chance it does. Edit to add, this is in no way attempt to say that she should just hold out clinging to him forever or anything. It was just me saying that sometimes, just sometimes, the other person does see them finally, and they do get to be together, and it can work. And marriage at any age is work, but especially when young, it's so much growing up you have to do, and not all grow together. We are one of the examples of making it work, of loving each other through all else. So it was meant to be inspiring to others that it can happen. Ski Bum says, funny, my wife and I had extremely disliked each other from the first time we met. So much so we would avoid going to gatherings if the other one was going to be there. That is until we were persuaded to play wingman/woman for close friends on a double date. I haven't dated another woman since, and I've been happily married for 41 years to my best friend. Oh, that's so funny and sweet. Yellowfinch says that's heartbreaking. Somebody says, I think it's kind of creepy behavior by the mom. Simple Survivor says, you've never noticed that man is so hot, it's so incredibly creepy. Yellowfinch says, no, it's good for parents to ask about their kids' feelings. My mom can read me better than most. For me, it's nice when she asks, but I get that it could be different for different people. I think you can recognize someone's attractive without being attracted to them, if you know what I mean. I mean, they can be objectively attractive, but you don't have any desire to have any relationship with them at all. That's just a thing. Stop interpreting your belief that someone's attractive into stop sexualizing recognizing attractiveness, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Next, I have Trail on my chest and is entitled, I've started taking Ozempic just to prove to my doctor that I don't eat too much. I've been overweight my entire life. The reason has always been a mystery. A quick summary. I was a bigger kid despite never being interested in sweet soda or baked goods. I also liked being active. In 2017, I lost 30 pounds, 30 kilograms in 5 months by only becoming stricter with my meal schedule, exercising, and drinking more water. After getting custom shoe inserts, I started jogging and I loved it. I kept the same lifestyle, but slowly started gaining weight back anyway. I think I started gaining weight around 2021. In 23, a back injury with nerve damage forced me to stop running. I gained more weight despite eating less because I wasn't getting hungry without exercise. In 2024, I was diagnosed with nonspecific eating disorder. The direct quote from my diagnosis is starvation symptoms despite being overweight. My blood work showed multiple deficiencies. Comes out of nowhere, just all of a sudden. I started treatment, but I had to quit because I couldn't afford the weekly bus rides to the hospital. The fact that I was gaining weight during treatment also play a role in me quitting. Now it's 2026. I'm active again. I can't jog for long, but I take long walks almost every day. Despite this, I cannot lose weight. Doctors have offered me Ozempic many times, but I refused because genuinely don't think it would work. Years ago, when I first started gaining weight back, I tried Victoza, the same basic type of medicine, for 6 months. I didn't lose a single kilogram. In fact, I gained 3. It gave me severe stomach issues and turned my already bad depression into severe suicidal ideation. After stopping, I gained weight even faster. Since my issue has never been overeating or having a big appetite, I truly do not believe lowering my appetite will solve the problem. The frustrating thing is I have proof from the eating disorder clinic and my blood test showing that I don't eat enough, but the doctors still assume I must be eating too much. I've been refused help investigating why I can't lose weight because they don't believe me. So finally, I suggested Ozempic, even though I'm convinced it won't work. Not because I want it, I'm doing it because I want proof. If lowering my appetite doesn't change anything when my appetite is already almost non-existent, maybe they'll finally believe me and look into another explanation. All I want is for the doctors to believe me. They even need to send you to a fat clinic, a fat camp, weight loss camp. All I want is to be able to go to the doctors without them blaming it on my weight, despite not looking into it. This is how I ended up with the back injury in the first place, because I didn't take my chronic pain seriously until my spine finally collapsed. I honestly barely even care about the way I look anymore, which used to be my one and only reason for wanting to lose weight. Hell, I don't even care about reducing health risks anymore. All I want is to be taken seriously by my doctors. I feel awful for doing the wrong reasons, but I'm desperate. Edit, thanks for trying to help, but I've already heard everything you guys are telling me. I don't want to sound ungrateful because I'm genuinely not. I just heard it all so many times. I did not make this post to get advice. I made it to get the guilt off my chest. I suspect I may have misinterpreted the point of this subreddit. My boy Gandhi is the top rate comment, and he says, they're still not going to believe you, so don't cut off your nose and spite your face. Keep changing doctors until you find one you connect with. Perhaps try traditional medicine doc. Crispy bacon salads is the second top rated comment, and they say, when I was able to afford a personal trainer who was also a dietitian, he told me I had to eat more so I can expend calories. Our bodies are holding on to any calories because that's what it's used to, not knowing when sustenance was to be had. Everyone here saying, track this, track that, blah, blah, blah. Sure, but you need to eat more. I'm down 30 pounds, by the way. It's annoying to eat more because I'm not hungry. But I definitely notice my hunger after a cardio day. Small multiple meals a day help with jumpstarting your metabolism. As Minky says, I don't know LP's medical history, but I have 2 conditions, Hashimoto's and PCOS, that lower basal metabolic rate by a lot. I was overweight, obese my entire life, and I will have to be on a lower calorie intake than someone my age and height would have to be to maintain my currently healthy weight of 70 kilograms. So this might be a similar case. This is also definitely harder to lose weight than it would be for a completely healthy person, including the weight as a health factor, but you cannot outrun a bad diet, or in this case, too high for your metabolic, or your metabolic rate diet, but it's still not impossible. Next we have, what do I do? And is entitled, am I overreacting or about to get scammed? So it's one of those messages that says, I'll send it using my credit. I use my checking account. I'm negative $5,400. Can you refund me the $5,400? No. Second update. I blocked the guy who sent me. Oh, wait. I posted a lot of sealed card collection stuff for sale as a bundle, approximately $5,400 worth. I get an offer from some young dude, 21, who drives a couple of hours to meet me. He pays me and my friends and family on PayPal after I offer to let him see everything. I come to an agreement. We met at a police online purchase area, and I got a photo of his ID, which is legit. The money pended for a few days and then declined, saying the bank didn't approve it. I messaged him letting him know, and he said we could meet in person to fix it and discuss reparations, because apparently something I gave him was damaged. 100% sure they were all pristine and solid cases. But I agreed I'd compensate him somehow just to get past it, but I wanted the money reset before giving him anything else. I did also offer to just take all my stuff back and for him to not owe me anything. So in a case like this, you should get a registered, a certified check. Don't do this PayPal crap. Insist on a certified check from the bank. Otherwise, you're going to get ripped off. I listened to him, letting him know, or you wait until the money goes through before you give him the goods. He said he would meet in person to fix it and discuss reparations. Okay, I read that. I also offered to just take back all my stuff and for him not to owe me anything if he was that upset that something was wrong and the payment was being a pain. He said he wanted them all and he called his bank. A couple of hours later, the money sends again this time, but I think not 100%. And he sent it good in services. It shows on my PayPal. I can provide tracking. I claim it instantly and transfer it to my account and then into my savings account. Good for you. Fast forward another day and I get 4 messages. So, yo, I'm so sorry. Can you refund the $4,500? I use my checking account and I'm negative $4,500 now. I'll resend using my credit card right away. I'm not sure what to do now. I don't want to screw this guy over. He's young and he's had a lot of money. And it's a lot of money, but I also don't want to be scammed out of that much money. Not to mention I paid a $184 fee to receive the money, which he didn't pay for. Updated. Block the guy who sent the money to me because I know it seems sketch asking for it back. And some people thought I was stupid for considering stuff happens sometimes, but I do appreciate all the responses and reassurance. I generally try to give people the benefit of the doubt to avoid being pessimistic. I will contact support in the morning to figure out if I can get ahead of things and let them know how he received the items in person and to provide proof. Hopefully that will help. If he pushes things, I'll file a police report and submit all the proof I have. I'm not sure that would qualify as grand larceny and fraud on his end, but it would be a shame to destroy his life over some cards. As of now, the money is tucked away and he got the cards he wanted, so not much to do now till he decides if he wants to make a BS chargeback, which will leave me fighting PayPal. Normally it is all, which is as good as cash as far as I'm concerned, but decided this once to try and do someone a solid won't happen again. For all of those who asked why I didn't do cash, I personally am sketched out by the possibility of receiving counterfeit money. I have having no transactions or accounts showing what happened. Like I said, cashier's check. There's a way to go on this. Second update. He contacted PayPal, claiming that I tried scamming him for both payments and blocked him. He now has asked them to get all the money back, and we are disputing that. It has escalated to a police report being filed and charges pressed. I don't know why someone would ruin their life at 21 over this. He had a chance to return the stuff. Mr. Howell says, scam. Oldest scam in the book. Character General says, OP sounds like a scalper. He was selling 15 boxes of unopened Pokemon cards. This is the reason why the little kids actually want to open and collect cards that aren't able to buy them at stores anymore. Scalper versus scammer. At least OP isn't engaging in straight up theft like the scammer is trying to do, but let's not all act like these people don't suck. OP says, yeah, for sure, for me, selling my Pokemon Center EBT collection that I have one copy of each over the course of 6 years because I have a baby now and I don't have space to display them anymore. For sure makes me a scalper. I would just absolutely throw away or return them to the store and let me know how much you bought for your house so I can buy it back for the exact same amount despite it being valued higher. Stupid comments like this should be really thought through. Infinite Wheel says, nah, it's done. You can block it and ignore. He bought the stuff. He bought the stuff. He does not get the money back. That's crazy talk. Why would he think he was going to get money back? Agreeable Try says, him not specifying the negative balance, telling you he had 0 is enough to know he's BSing. One account is going to let you overdraw $5,400. Megan Steele answers exactly what happens in that situation after 48 hours of trying to receive the funds from your bank or credit card. If it fails to get payment, it will show a negative balance in PayPal itself. Katie Lou says, I work for a bank and this can happen. If you deposit a check for $4,500 and immediately pull the money out, then the check bounces, you'll be out that $4,500. You'll have to make it up somehow before the bank closes your account. A large deposit hold on a check isn't usually done unless it's more than $6,000, $6,725 to be exact. Sometimes there will still be holds required by the bank before you can immediately pull the money out. But depending on how the deposit is done, as long as there is not a history of deposits bouncing, that may not always be the case. If they're lying, I think the scammer just wind up here. But appealing to the pity of others is also a classic scam tactic. Boarding Juice Box says, wing that guy. 100% scammer. Block and ignore. Keep the money. Evening Cat says the money will get clawed back. OP shouldn't send it back. But they also shouldn't spend it either. It can take months for the bank to claw money back. If OP still has the money in a year, they can safely spend it. Boarding Juice Box says if he transferred it out of PayPal, maybe he can just never use that PayPal account again. I'm no expert, but I hope OP is able to use the money and he rightfully deserves for the items he sold. And then he said OP will be sent to collections and destroy the credit over it. PayPal doesn't care if a stolen account. This is from Evening Cat. PayPal doesn't care if a stolen account made a purchase. They will take the money back. Same thing happens with Zelle because people wrongfully believe Zelle transactions are irreversible. That's only true if the actual account owner initiates the transaction. Scammers know this and they prey on people. Another common scam is to steal an account, accidentally overpay, like send $1,000 when the item is $100, then demand the seller send back $900. The $1,000 transaction gets reversed because the account was stolen, but the $900 will not get reversed because the seller initiated it. PayPal, Venmo, Zelle do not care if you were tricked into sending money back. This is why you keep the money until they make you give it back. Don't spend it. But you got merchandise, so that's a whole different thing than what they're talking about. Next, we have entitled parents, and is entitled, My Mom Hates Where I Live and does anything she can do to try and convince us to hate it too. Post will be about my mom's tendency to make everyone think the exact same thing she does, then play victim if they don't, amongst other things that she does. Anyways, I'm 16 and I live in a state in the southern part of America in a big city. Me and my family moved to the state back in September 23 and have been here ever since. We have previously lived in the Midwest in a town with no more than 4,000 people, so the difference was definitely noticeable, going from 4,000 to 1.9 million people. Yeah. For years it was fine. Granted, my experience here has been lackluster. I like the state, but I don't like the situation in the state, but whatever. Cut to around mid-24 when my mom decided she hated the state out of the blue. She began rambling on to me and my siblings about how much she hated everything about the state, and none of us agreed, since we had enjoyed it here. So after seeing that none of us agreed, she decided to stop driving in all entirety. She refused to even drive my older brother to work 3 minutes down the road. We had moved to the state for my dad's job, and he had been making more money than he ever had, with the unfortunate fact that he wouldn't be home as often, so he's typically only home on weekends. She stopped driving, and me and my siblings stopped being able to go to events and do all sorts of things, so we were limited only going places on weekends. In 23, my mom had also decided to pull me from school and force me and my brothers to homeschool, which was and has been one of the worst experiences I've had in my life. You're only 16. But yeah, that would be pretty bad. Claiming that public schools will indoctrinate you. Okay, your mom's crazy. Your mom's insane. Among other things. So there went any and all of my social life. No school, no getting to go anywhere. It took a year of trying to make friends and failing miserably over and over for her to even notice. She didn't even come to the conclusion I didn't have any friends and still don't, till I had to tell her. To which her reaction was almost along the lines of, okay, you're just mature for your age and don't need friends. Everybody needs friends. So she stopped taking my siblings and I to events and stopped driving. Pulled us out of public school, resented my dad for having a job. And I could go on because there's so much more. She treats me like the little babysitter who's in charge of constantly watching my little brothers. What is she doing? She's not driving, so she ain't going anywhere. The 2025 school year rolled around, and I asked my mom if I could take driver's ed, to which she immediately shut down and said absolutely not, that she didn't want me driving in the state, and that was final. That's no. Your mom's cray. Cut to now, I could have my license by now if I'd been able to take that class. Just went out of the house to go do things, but she's forbidden me from any form of driving. Along that, she's also prohibited me from getting a job because she felt I don't need one as a woman. Your mother is nuts. I need to focus on learning to cook and clean, the whole outdated deal. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. OP, I'm so sorry. Now she has become freaked out by everything all the time. Everything is a conspiracy to her. I can't even bring up getting our rescue dog a DNA test to find out our breed, as mostly a joke before she immediately twists it into some government mind control thing. She's 100% adamant about running away and living under the radar and off the grid, and is demanding her kids come with her. Ew, that sounds even worse. To save us from the end of the world? Where is your mother going to church? Because this is nonsense. Anytime I mention my desire to go to college, she shoots it down and demands I go with her to live on a farm and to be uncontrollable. I don't want children. Her having 2 kids when I was 10 and having to help raise them, she destroyed any desire I'd ever have. Everything with her is when you have kids, and every time I tell her no, she lashes out to me. The government hates you when you have kids. The government hates when you have kids. You have to at least 5 kids. I'm a career first person. Kids will never give me an ounce of satisfaction. I also fought under the asexual umbrella, which she hates me for. You're just being dramatic. Anyway, back to her hating the state. Me and my brother have been wanting to do these things to go to a semi-local pool or to the park. Every time we bring it up, she screams at us, no, the crime is too high and you'll get shot. Talk about somebody who's overdramatic. Your dad moved us here. It's his fault. She doesn't even let us go to the mall, get the mail most of the time. I'm barely permitted outside the house. Everything we bring up is negative. Hey, Mom, can we go to this thing this weekend? No, you'll get killed. Really think about the homeless people who wouldn't kill a child first chance they get, which is a real thing she said. Oh my goodness. Your mother needs help. She's insane. Everything is constant. I hate the state with her. We don't agree. She either 1, screams at us saying we're too naive, 2, gives us the silent treatment, sometimes for up to 4 days straight, 3, punishes us for not agreeing. There's talk of her moving off the grid when I graduate, and all I want is to be able to take my brother, 14, with me to college, so he's not subjected to her insanity. But it just can't happen. Even when we say we don't agree, she'll call Dad and scream that we are all 100% on board with moving. None of us want to, but she can't stand to hear anyone else out. Her way or the highway. If anything, I love this state more than I used to. I miss my old home, but I live here now and I accept that. I accepted that. I can't deal with her constant negativity anymore, and it's affecting everyone. Veered off the track of this post a bit, but in short, my mom is constantly screaming about her hatred for the state we live in and is penalizing everyone else for it. This has nothing to do with the state she's in, hon. This has to do with her and her weirdness. Revo says, it sounds like your mom is unwell and needs to see a physician. She needs to see a psychiatrist. Apprehensive Chip said, mine kept complaining about the house layouts nonstop. And me without my towel says, you need to tell your dad that he has to take a break from work so she can be evaluated by a professional psychiatrist, which I'm sure is also a conspiracy, right? This sounds like it could be schizophrenia or similar mental disorder. She's probably too old for schizophrenia, but it's definitely some kind of mental thing. OP says, as much as I love that for her, she's never agreed to anything from a medical professional. She's completely abandoned the idea of medicine and vaccines for the whole thing. My oldest brother lives in a different state and is seeing a therapist. My mom's fully against it, so there's no chance she'd ever commit to psychiatric help. Definitely seeing a lot of traits of bipolar disorder. At the very least, she's a narcissist. I'd love nothing more than to have her professionally diagnosed, but she won't, and there's no changing that. Stormywall answers, well, you're all going to have to find the help for her somehow, even if she gets committed, because she will not get better on her own. Edit fun to find out. Fun to find. I don't know what that means. Misery's company says it's not OP's responsibility, it's her father's responsibility, and he's doing a piss poor job of taking care of his family. um, yeah, Dad needs to step in here and do something. Chestnut decay is the third top right comment, and they say your mom needs immediate psychiatric help. Yes, exactly. Next we have best of Render updates, and it's entitled I, 30 female, and pregnant with my fiance, 32 male. He wants to keep it, but we're both supposed to be child free. How do I tell him I don't want to keep it? Does he know you're pregnant? This was originally posted in Relationship Advice. Original post June 7th, 2026. Obligatory throwaway count. People in real life know my main account. I'm pregnant, but I'm not supposed to be. My fiance and I are child free. We spoke about it in depth when we started getting serious, and every now and then touch on the subject to make sure we're both on the same page. We've been together for 2 years, engaged for 3 months, and that entire time, not once have we had a pregnancy scare. I'm on birth control. He uses condoms. We're careful. Then I started feeling a bit under the weather. I've been feeling nauseous, or at times I have a lack of appetite. I get headaches or feel a bit lightheaded. I've been getting tired more easily. These symptoms kept persisting, and I went to the doctor thinking I caught something. They do a routine exam, including a pregnancy test, because they always do a pregnancy test. And eventually come out back to tell me I'm 6 to 7 weeks pregnant. I kind of laugh because no, I'm on birth control. There's no way. I tell them to do the test again, but they're confident the test is accurate. The test is accurate. False positives are not a thing. Couldn't do an ultrasound at the time, but booked me for another appointment. I'm literally freaking out because somehow my birth control's failed, and I need to tell my fiance. No, you don't. If you don't want to have the baby, I would advise not. Cut to the conversation. I'm a mess. I'm crying, snotty, and barely getting words out. He does what I expect and comforts me. He hugs me and tells me everything will be okay. I temporarily feel so much relief, and then it's all shattered. My anxiety is kicked into overdrive when he tells me we'll make great parents and that he will be with me every step of the way. Absolutely not. This is why you didn't have told him. I don't know. It's like my whole world tilted on access. It's really difficult to explain how much his words affected me because one of the key foundations of our life and future was that our lifestyles are aligned. And here he is telling me he wants to keep the baby. I ask him what he means, and he says it's clearly a miracle I'm pregnant because we managed to conceive despite everything we've done to prevent having babies. Yeah, nature finds ways, but that doesn't mean you have to do that. I tell him we're supposed to be child free. We both agreed we didn't want kids. He says that's true, but now that I'm pregnant, things are different. No, I want him to come with me so I could get an abortion. I've never been pregnant before. I've never had an abortion before. I'm terrified to go by myself. I really need him there with me and supporting me and being my rock because I have no idea how painful it will be. I don't have anyone else in my life, and I trust me to support me through this. Honestly, you're not going to have to go anywhere. They'll give you a couple pills to get home. Eventually, he tells me to go to bed and get some rest because I'm clearly overwhelmed, which, yeah, I am, but not for the reason he thinks. I'm 100% sure I don't want this baby. I don't want to be pregnant or give birth or raise a child. I don't want this. How do I tell him I want to get an abortion? I say, I'm going to get an abortion. Bye, honey. I'm so confused and upset because he's so excited, like he's done at 180, and I'm afraid I'll break his heart. I think he was lying the whole time. I think he may have done something to a birth control, and he did something to condoms. Before anyone asked, I tried getting my tubes tied. I've seen 3 different doctors, and none of them would sign off on me having the surgery. Up until this point, birth control and condoms have always been enough. Reverend Jack White says, what birth control method do you use? Frankly, his reasoning sounds very suspect to me, and I wonder if he's been tampering with things because he wants children. I wonder the same thing. OP says, I use birth controls. I tried IUDs in the past, but I get really low pain tolerance, so having them removed or inserted was always a miserable time. I never suspected him of tampering with my birth control. Before this, we were always deciding on him about what he wanted. Update, June 29, 2026, 2 days later. So I spoke to my fiance yesterday about our situation. It didn't go well. I started off the conversation by asking him if he really wanted this baby, or if he acted excited just in case he was worried I wanted it. Someone suggested this could be what happened, but unfortunately, he told me he really does want this baby with me. So I ripped the plaster off and I told him I don't want this baby. I told him I was going to do what we had planned and get an abortion. I wanted him by my side, but if he really changed his mind, then how did I need to know? He looked shocked and honestly a bit angry. He asked me how I still couldn't be excited about this and how I want to get rid of the baby. Oh my God, dude. Dude, read the room. Read the entirety of your life. I told him because I never wanted children. I still don't want children, and getting pregnant isn't changed that. He claimed I was still overwhelmed and not thinking straight, and this annoyed me. It's not like I'm suddenly incapable of making rational decisions. I told him I had the entire day to calm down and think about what I wanted to say clearly. If he wants a child, then I won't stop him. It hurts because it means the end of our relationship, but he won't be having that child with me. We fundamentally are not compatible anymore. I think he started panicking when he realized I was serious. He started talking faster and trying to convince me to keep the baby and that we'd make good parents, that we'd figure it out, that he'd work harder. She doesn't want to be pregnant. Forced pregnancy is not a good thing. He didn't want to listen to the fact that I didn't want to go through the pregnancy, that I wanted to remain child-free, that our future together without children was the picture, and to be honest, his insistence was really unnerving. We started arguing because he just wouldn't agree to us separating or me getting an abortion. He never got physical, but his insistence that I couldn't get rid of this baby was upsetting me. I didn't think he did anything to my birth control when I made my first post. He's never been that kind of person, but I started having doubts. I asked him how long he had changed his mind about wanting kids, and he wouldn't tell me. Where's my red flag? I have my green flag. I know my red flag is under here somewhere. I saw it the other day. It's not there. Shoot. Okay, red flags. Let's see if it's the green flag. Pretend this is red. Because I can't find my red flag anywhere. I don't know where it went. Let's see. Um, what was it? I lost my place. Okay, here it is. I asked him how long he had changed his mind about wanting kids, and he wouldn't tell me. I asked if it was before or after I was told him I was pregnant. He said he didn't know. He knows. The relationship was 100% over at this point. So I asked if he had anything else he wanted to tell me. He looked sort of confused, and I elaborated on our birth control methods. Had they been messed with? I can't really explain the expression on his face. It was like fear and anger balled into one. He told me I was nuts, and he said he couldn't talk to me when I was like this and left the house. After that, I got all my documents, essentials, electronics, and some clothes together. I also left before he got back and went to his friend's place. We're not close. We're close, not best friends, so I was expecting her to decline when I asked to crash at hers for a bit. She agreed, and after getting in, I told her everything that happened. She said I can stay with her for as long as I need, and she'll be by my side for the abortion. See, all you need is a friend. My ex-fiance called when he realized I wasn't home. I answered and he demanded to know where I am. I said I'm with a friend. I refused to give him any details. I explained that I'm getting an abortion and that I don't need his permission, blessing, or whatever, and that I would not stand in his way of wanting a family, but he needed to have it with someone else. We're probably over, and either of us should have compromised on this. The call was heartbreaking. We both ended up crying. Eventually, he said I can come get my stuff when he's at work, but that I'll regret getting rid of our child. I just said okay and hung up. Normally, people do not regret having abortions. Just saying. He sent me the odd text today asking how I am, and then asking if I'd wait until we could get an ultrasound. I shot that down immediately, and he hasn't said much else. I'm planning on getting the rest of my things tomorrow when he's at work. It's not the outcome I wanted. I really hope he just freaked out and didn't want to upset me, but his plans for his life have changed. It's pretty much confirmed that we are not together anymore. I'll be getting an abortion soon, and then I'll try to figure out how to piece my life without my ex in it. I'm sad and mourning the loss of my best friend and partner, but it's preferable to the future he tried to convince me to give in to. Thank you all for the messages and comments. Final update, June 10th, 2026, one day after the first update. Hello, I've gotten most of my things from my ex's house, and there's some stuff I've left behind, but it's things that are replaceable. I was prioritizing items and clothes that are important or sentimental to me. A lot of people were telling me not to go alone. Don't worry, I didn't. Before I went over, my friend called her two brothers and asked if they could come too. Basically, we said I had broken up with my fiance and we were worried he'd be there as things were less than amicable. Plan was that we go in and I'd point out what was mine. Her brothers would do the heavy lifting and my friend would take photos of the house and later timestamp them just in case my ex trashed the place and tried to blame it on me. My ex was at work, like he said, but I didn't want to take my time in case he came back. We put my stuff in boxes and the guys carried them to the car. I did a once over to make sure I hadn't left anything important behind. Someone suggested swiping the condoms and test to see if they had holes in them. He usually leaves them in his bedside cabinet, but they weren't there when I checked, and he definitely had a pack left. I had to look around in case he moved them, but in the end, I couldn't find them. Take that how you will. After I locked the place up and pushed my key through the letterbox, my friend wanted to push her phone through to take a photo of that too, but I was worried she was going to drop it, and then we'd be screwed. We left, and now I'm back at her replacement things. I thanked her brothers and promised to buy them their favorite beers. We're eating pizza now and just hanging out. I booked an appointment too, so by the end of this week, hopefully, will be a forgotten nightmare. Luckily, I didn't run into my ex, but he messaged me to ask if I'd been by. So that's where I am right now. Thanks for the support. Is that all of the updates? That's it. Shrimpy Station is the first top right comment that says that friend might not be OP's official BFF, but she's ticking all the boxes. Exactly. She's a good friend. She's someone you want in your life. Place to say check. Emotional support for the abortion check. Beefy brothers as movers and bodyguards is a vague reason check. All of girls should be so lucky. Should A, be so lucky, and B, strive to be that kind of friend. 100%. Ephemerides says, in case everyone was worried, the final update came before the appointment. It was resolved. We broke up. I had the abortion. Oh, okay. That was on the in the comments on the update. So that's cool. So she had the abortion. That's nice. I'm glad for her. She did not want to be pregnant, and that's what should happen. Charlotte Lucas says, you're overwhelmed. You're not thinking straight. Well, then better not give me a human being to raise. Exactly. I don't understand these people that think that people who do not want to have children and are irresponsible getting pregnant. So obviously she was not irresponsible at all. The responsible thing to do was get an abortion. Why would you want to give a child to an irresponsible person to raise? It's crazy. Existing purpose says, I wanted to pretend I was shocked when I read that, but I wasn't. They wait until the ultrasound was a good one too. No way that could be used as emotional manipulation. Ricky Tiki Tavi Bommel says, Plus, there's a deadline for getting an abortion after appointment. Most places are required to enforce a waiting period to do before doing the actual procedure, so he could be just running out the clock. Dandelion says, "Yep, got hit by this tactic when my ex got her pregnant. My ex got her pregnant in a red state back when the Roe v. Wade was still a thing. We asked about an abortion instead of no, we don't do that here. We got absolutely no schedule a follow up for a week from now, and we can discuss termination then." Luckily, she realized what was happening and managed to find a clinic run by a doctor who won some sort of award for feminism by being the one doctor in the state not actively try to repeal the 19th or such. Something like that. Wow, that's crazy. Next is from Made Me Smile, and it's peak social wise respect to this guy. And I will show it to you. Usually these are. Sarah Hansen writes, "To the guy who held the door for me and then followed me a few steps before stopping on the sidewalk, calling out, 'I'm not trying to be weird. I just think I'd park next to you. Go ahead.' And then waited for me to drive off. Sir, may you only encounter green lights. May pizza never burn the roof of your mouth. May you awaken every day with a restored spirit. Absolutely king behavior." That's awesome. I love that. Love that for him and for you. Version of Plus says, "I followed someone for literally 150 miles yesterday on a long ride home. We finally turned separate ways. The other car gave me a thumbs up out the window." That's nice. D-Town Bronx says, "I love finding travel buddy long drives. We both settle into a nice speed and help each other make lane changes, and sadly it all comes to an end and we never see each other again." Affaman says, "When this happens, I usually walk faster, so I pass the person. Simple and easy. I also prefer walking fast." T and Troll says, "I often stop and take sudden interest in my phone for a minute or two." Third rate comment is from a boy named Judy, and he says, "I have to say something similar while walking through a shopping center. I'm not following you. We just happen to be going the same direction." Go Escher Bot says, "Sniffs hair. I'm not following you. I just want you to know I love your shampoo." All right, that's all I got for the day. I will not be on tomorrow. I will be going to see teeth people. I'll see my dentist for like 2 minutes because that's how long I usually see my dentist for. 2 minutes and it's over. I see the hygienist for a longer time. All right. Have a good day. I love you, biddies. I'll see you on Friday. Take care. Love you. Bye. So 3 hours long. Bye.